Ladies and Habibis, we are going to introduction to you rising star of South Asia. He is very well educated. He knows Islam and Christianity very well. He done what they said he can. He is Doctor.
Alhamdulillah.
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Zakir? You come out, it's not you. Habibi, take him out. Sorry, there was some problem. He's Adam Sikher.
Hello everyone. This is your favorite Murtid. Salamul Masih. Peace of Christ be with each and every one of you. I hope you guys are having fun. Hello and welcome back everyone. Your favorite Murtad is live once again. And usually I love my intro. I just love it. There are very few times in the last 2.5 years of me running this intro that I felt this intro is not appropriate for this particular stream. Very few times. And today is one of those. We know that Islam has a lot of teeth. Some teeth to show, like the elephant. He has 2 teeth that you can show. And people like them. They're pretty beautiful teeth. And they sell for a good amount of money. But then there are other teeth the elephant has, which you cannot see. And those are the teeth the elephant uses to eat. It's similar when we see Islam. America is supposedly the capital of the world. It's the big daddy of the world. And America creates precedents for a lot of countries in the world when it comes to secular values. And those precedents are being set in a negative manner right now. In such a way that sometimes it's hard for me to express my feeling about it. In America, the secular values are in such a way that they can actually create a cross in a jar and fill it with urine and put it in a museum in the name of art. And they say this is the freedom of expression and art. Somebody is expressing their freedom. And that is all good. But then again, if somebody expresses the same kind of a freedom for the elephant named Islam, who has different kind of a teeth to show and different kind of teeth to eat, the freedom of religion and freedom of speech and freedom of expression goes down the drain. In America, it is constitutionally written that a person in America has the freedom to say about his belief and somebody else's belief freely, because it is the God-given right that a person can state things about something or some theology, and it is legally allowed as freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Today I'm going to invite a brother who lives in America, and his constitutional rights has been taken away from him. He's going to tell us what happened, how it happened, why it happened. So let me invite our chief guest today, our brother Thaddeus from Reasoned Answer. Brother, welcome to the stream. Thank you so very much for giving us the time, brother. The mic is yours.
Thank you for having me on. Welcome to everyone in the audience. I'm very glad that you're here today. We have a lot to talk about. My situation, we'll be talking about my situation, but understand that the story isn't really just about me, right? It isn't just something horrible happened to this one particular guy. The story is here in America, you're allowed to criticize Christianity, you're allowed to criticize all kinds of things, but if you criticize Islam, there will be consequences, right? We'll get into some of the specifics in a little bit, but if I had said the exact same things, word for word, about Christians or Christianity, no one would care, no one would bat an eye. But because I dared to criticize Islam publicly, I had to be fired from my job. I worked there for 8.5 years. I had gotten positive performance reviews. I had a long history of positive feedback from the company. In fact, over the last several months, I'd been taking on a much greater role there, doing a lot more. Everyone was super happy with my work product. And then the local newspaper, published an article with misleading, at best, some could say false, statements about what I say on my YouTube channel. The there was a public outcry by the city and county officials, and suddenly, and of course CARE, right? Of course CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, who loves to do anything they can to support terrorists. Once all that outcry happened, I was put on administrative leave, promised a thorough investigation, and fired less than 24 hours later.
Wow, 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 wow. So, administrative leave to investigate you,
Mm-hmm.
and within 24 hours, they fired you. So, they can't even do investigation within 24 hours. That is a big, big bull crap. But before we continue, we have another honorable guest with us who also lives in America and has dealt with care a lot in the past. So I'm going to invite another honorable guest here who's going to talk with you about this care thing, whom so many even Christians donate money in the name of donation to help save somebody in Gaza or Syria or Afghanistan or Iraq or Iran and all the yada yadiyas of the world. So let me invite another guest from America, Hadrat Izzatma Usama Degdog, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Hadrat Usama, welcome to my stream and
Oh,
thank you for joining us.
absolutely, absolutely. We are. My heart is really broken for what happened to our dear brother Sidos here, because what's happening to him will not stop by him, and that's not the final level. That is the early stages of. In the near future, if we cannot fight that and stop the Muslim jihadi, we're talking about Hamas by the title care, except they wear suits and ties. If we cannot stop them from persecuting our brother here, there will be a second level of consequence, which means literally not just he and me, but everyone who will criticize, speaks the truth about Islam, will be arrested and thrown in some jail or some prison. We got the Muslim jihadi in America controlling America, even though we have the best president we ever can have to hold into our First Amendment in America. It is so sick to hear what's happening. I hope my voice is clear and I don't have any problem with the internet. Can you hear me okay?
You speak perfectly except for the B.
I'm working on my bees, and I stopped using the word popcorn and Pepsi and Publix because people couldn't understand my English, but that's fine. All
But
right,
you have to use the word perfectly here many times. So,
perfectly. Listen,
oh, yeah, Mary, you got it.
Amen. So seriously, Adam, um, I think we have to fight this all the way to the end. Not only that our brother will get his job back, but actually those who fired him need to lose their job. That is not a revenge, not a retaliation. They need to be penalized for what they're doing because they are used, and I say it again, as useful idiots. They are no more or less but useful idiots afraid of care. I mean, it's been 20 years for me and care, maybe it's not it, 17 years, me and care we go back, and I've been trying so hard for them to sue me, and they will not sue me because I cannot wait to stand up in a court of law against the Muslim Brotherhood of Care or the member of Hamas of Care to expose them and expose Islam with them because they're nothing but Muslim jihadi believers. So, well, we just have to pray and seek God's wisdom, and perhaps we can get some good lawyer to get involved in that case, and because that is direct hit on our First Amendment. And thank God, ACLJ may take that case. I hope, and I will talk with my dear brother about it, or maybe actually Matthew with Liberty Counsel also will be taking that case because we're not going to let them have it. God is my witness. We're not going to let them put their foot in the door because you guys know, like our audience here know, if we give the Muslim an inch, they only go for a few miles. And if they put their foot inside the door will not be there. Not the hinges, not the lock, not the whole door will be gone. So that's why we have to stand up in unity and fight it to the last breath of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Thaddeus, we got the base done, we got the moral done, and it's good that we have the moral of the story in the early part of the stream. But now tell us, how did Care got involved? Your channel is making a huge impact, and I know that for a
Hmm.
fact because a lot of people has come to me from your channel after talking to your channel, and they come and talk about it. Even Indians come to there. I come there sometimes, very seldom, not a lot, but your channel is doing a lot of impact. Yet it is not a very huge channel. Like it's not a channel where you have a couple of million subscribers where if you go live 10,000 people are watching. Like it's a very comparatively very small channel, yet it is making a huge impact, and we know that the impact is there. We see the impact because people are crying. Uh, so uh, tell us what happened, how did it happen, and how did Care got involved? And these three questions are very important
Hmm.
because for everyone who thinks that they are talking about Islam in a very small platform, in a localized setting, they need to understand that this is their problem as well. It is not the problem of a very big platform or a big channel. Whereas Thaddeus's channel is not a big channel; it's a very small channel. As far as the channels are concerned, his channel is a very small channel. Thaddeus, how many subscribers do you have? Like 60,000, somewhere around that.
Oh no, no, not even close to 60,000. So I had 26,000 when this news article was published. I now have 27,000. Gained 1,000 subscribers in the last 3 days. And of course, people want to keep that going. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Have a lot
So
of material coming up.
So only 25,000 subscribers,
Hmm.
like literally, that's like chip change. You don't even have a silver button, right? Your
Correct,
channel
correct.
is your channel is not even authorized gray tick mark channel. It's a
Hmm.
it's a tiny little channel, and they are so scared for the impact that you are creating that they had to come in and hit your financial means so that you will not be able to eat and drink and have your life. Like this is what Muhammad did as well. When he left Makkah, he started attacking and robbing caravans of the kuffar who are non-Muslims so that he could hit their bread and butter. So these useful idiots are doing exactly the same thing on our brothers and sisters. So please, the mic is yours. I'm going to shut up now. And I would like Osama to interact where he can for the involvement that he has seen in his past happening with his friends in America, because this
Amen.
is not the first time.
Amen.
Yeah, so before I get into any of the details, I think I would like to start with anecdote that a friend of us, a friend of my family, just told me. They said that years ago, I've been running the channel for over 5 years. Years ago, they heard about me writing content against Islam, and because they're politically liberal, they were really incensed about that, and they went to the channel because they wanted to get mad at me and say what a horrible person I was. And then they watched some of the content, and they were like, "Man, this guy's just so Thaddeus is just so nice. I can't be mad at him. He's just having reasonable conversations with people, discussing in an intellectual way that Islam is wrong. There's nothing to be mad about here." But apparently, that's not the case for everyone. So this started for me in the fall, last fall. CSB, Community Shelter Board, the place that I used to work at, they had hired a new employee, and her name was Liz, and she had some difficulty understanding normal social cues and was having difficulty around the office. She had a problem with a lot of people there. And I did something to set her off. I'm not certain what that may be, but I did hear later on that it was highly offensive that I had bought Chick-fil-A and ate that for lunch. So that might be how this all started. It might be because I had Chick-fil-A and ate it in the office. I don't know. It might have been that. It might have been something else. But regardless, she developed a problem with me. And
The Chick-fil-A doesn't even sell pork. So I don't understand the problem with Chick-fil-A and that Muslim lady.
oh, well, she wasn't a Muslim. To be clear, Liz was not a Muslim.
Huh?
The reason she had a problem with it probably is because it's vaguely associated with Christianity, and she probably just has a problem with
Yeah, it's
Christianity.
not vaguely associated. The person is Christian who runs the
Yes,
show,
yes, yes, yes.
and that is not even a problem. All the halal food chains in America, the person running is a Muslim. So a chain being run by a Muslim or a Christian doesn't even matter. So like like she will going to whoever she is, the useful idiot seculars, and I call these guys seculars, SICK. I know the spelling and the pronunciations of secular, but I call them seculars, but because they are literally brain dumb seculars. So quite frankly, I have no idea why she would have such a problem with that, because every other chain is either run by a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim, and hardly there are few chains which are run by atheists, or
Mm-hmm.
because nobody knows whether they are atheists or not, because they don't even pronounce it. So we don't even know if somebody is running a chain which is by an atheist. But yes, the owner of the Chick-fil-A chain of food chain is a Christian. So what?
Yeah,
So
so what
what?
indeed? I mean, that's my thought. I mean, I eat it because I like the food. I mean, it's not like some massive statement, but I heard that I was like making all these in your face statements around the office, which is not true. I never talked about religion around the office. I went about doing my job, which had absolutely nothing to do with religion. It had to do with data. I analyzed numbers, or analyzed past tense numbers, for a living. And naturally, I'm kind of an introvert. I pretty much keep to myself, don't bother people. But she developed a problem with me. And so, since obviously she knew my full name, working with me, she went to my personal Facebook page, on which I had posted a link to my YouTube channel when I first started it, some 6 years ago, for the benefit of my family and friends being aware of the channel. Once she went to the channel, I mean, I think she was already upset from the mere fact that it was a Christian channel. But once she went to the channel, she saw that I was doing this horrible thing of criticizing someone's religion. Again, she's not a Muslim herself. She's probably an atheist. I don't know that for a fact. But she is a social justice warrior, right? And no one should be criticizing anyone about anything, unless, of course, you're criticizing Christians for standing up for the truth of Christianity. Then that is just not acceptable. Then that's completely acceptable to criticize Christians, because Christians are the most hateful, bigoted people in the world, or whatever nonsense is in her mind. So she goes to the channel and she discovers that I criticize Muslims. She never confronts me. I never hear anything from her personally. We have a normal work relationship between the two of us. at work. But later, I learned that an HR complaint was filed against me. That
I have
I
to correct one thing. I personally, maybe there would be a sentence that you might have said here and there because sometimes we get angry. But I have never seen you criticizing Muslims. What I've
That's
seen
correct.
you is criticizing the theology of Islam.
But
The
Adam, those people we're talking about do not know the difference between Muslims and Islam. They're so ignorant, they don't know jack about the topic. So if you say the Quran says, oh, you're criticizing the Muslims, even though you're talking about the Quran. Allah said,
you,
Muhammad said to them, equal to Muslim said. If
no,
you
you
criticizing Islam, to them
before,
equal to criticizing the Muslim, because they're super stupid. They don't know anything about what we're talking about.
but Osama, we need to make things very clear to begin with as well that I have personally seen him, and I when I go hot-headed. I always am hot-headed. I'm Hulk. You do left right with me. I'll go 10 step, bang 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 bang, machine gun open. Thaddeus is very very calm and very very cool and very very compiled in terms of these things. And I have seen him criticizing Islam, and there is no reason in America which anyone can actually take to say you cannot criticize a theology. We like Thaddeus was never ever mean to a Muslim. I sometimes get mean to somebody who will accuse me or abuse me or say something. I get mean, but I haven't seen him doing such a thing. So, very important distinction. Yes, Thaddeus.
Yes, that is correct. On my channel, I focus on the theology of Islam. Sometimes talk about specific things that Muslim apologists, public speakers with millions of subscribers, I might add, have said. But I don't like go around talking about ordinary Muslims you see on the street, other than like maybe a statement that you should evangelize to them or something along those lines. Every once in a while, someone will call. I do open call-in shows. A Muslim or something will call in and they'll say, "Why do you hate Muslims?" And I'll say, "I don't." Right? If I actually hated Muslims, the last thing in the world I would be doing is trying to reach them with the saving truth of Jesus Christ. I would be just ignoring them or calling for them to be jailed or whatever else. But I wouldn't be putting myself on the line, coming here doing something which I know has potential social consequences and apparently also financial consequences now. To put myself out there, have people look at me and say, "Well, that guy criticizes Islam, so he must be a hateful bigot." If I actually hated Muslims, I would not do this, right? Because I don't, just like anyone else, I don't enjoy people coming and saying that I'm hateful. So I explain to people who ask that I do this because I love Muslims. I want Muslims to come to know the truth of Jesus Christ and the eternal life that he offers. That's why I do this. Now, apparently, offering people eternal life is a horrible thing to do here in America.
Yes, very, very horrible. This is very, very horrible. How dare you tell Muslims that your Quran is actually false, historically proven? The hadiths of Muhammad are false, historically proven. The data that is written in Quran or Hadith are inhumane towards humans. Anybody who is not a Muslim, it's inhumane towards them. And so much that it is inhumane towards the Muslimah as well, born into this religion. So quite frankly, how dare you tell them all of this information by showing them what is written inside their Quran, what is written inside their Hadith, what is written inside their Tafasir, what is written in the Shara, what is written in their fiqh. How dare you do such a thing? You should be penalized. You should be put to jail.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exactly. And it's amazing that in some of the protests I have in my own personal meeting as I travel to speak, actually the gay and the lesbians, they are standing with the Muslims to support them against our ministries. Like literally, these people are destroying themselves because not only they have lack of knowledge, but because they're super stupid and they understand Islam to be the opposite of what Islam is. There's one thing you do not know what Islam is, another thing you think Islam is the opposite of what it is. And that's exactly what we see from liberals, even sadly, gay and lesbians who are like the chicken for fried stores or
KFC.
KFC, like the Prime Minister of Israel said to the Americans. It is so unbelievable the level of stupidity among those people that instead they be thankful for people like our dear brother here to show his love for the Muslim people, to lead them to Christ. They are mad at him. On the other hand, if these Muslims would do all what they're already doing in Europe to their own people in America, they have no problem with it. I never heard that the people of Europe are upset or complaining about Muslims raping their wives or their daughters. It's just something you don't hear of. Why? Because I think the British people and the French people and the German people love to see their daughter being raped by Muslim men. And the police will not talk about it, and the authority will not talk about it, and life moves on. That's exactly what's coming to America. That's why we have to stand up in solidarity, not just with our dear brothers, but everyone who will speak the truth in boldness and in love about the savage cult of Islam, so that we may reach out to those victims of Islam. Victim number one, the Muslims, with the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is exactly what every believer and everyone who knows something about Islam ought to do.
Before we continue to the next point, very
Mhm.
important point I need to raise here. Somebody, Islam is my identity, is saying, Adam Seeker, Egypt has 10% Orthodox. Osama from Egypt. There is no Christian persecution. If there is Christian persecution,
You know how,
Egypt
okay,
would have.
you know what, Adam?
Before you, I know you have a lot to say over here. Let me, please allow me. He's an Indian. All right. So, Mr. Islam is my identity. You dumb fool, basically. In India, there are 18% Muslims, and you cry with the loudest voice in the world that you are being persecuted in India. Does that means that because you are 20%, there is no persecution for the Muslims in India? Can you please say that now over here, right now, that India is not persecuting because there are 20% Muslims over there or 18% whatsoever? Point number
Mm.
one. Point number two, Egypt was an Orthodox Christian country with over 90% Christians. Your follower of Muhammad, Umar bin al-Khattab, attacked that country, applied jizya on it, killed brutally, destroyed so many of them, and I've shown them in 3 years ago, and I'm gonna highlight that video again very soon. Now I'm gonna download it from my own channel and re-upload it as a premiere to show how Egyptians were persecuted, how their churches were destroyed, how they can't even build a bathroom in the church, how they can't even fix the church, how you guys have done so many atrocities in the past till now in Egypt, according to the paper and everything, let alone what Osama is going to tell you that is happening right now in today's world at this moment. You guys, the follower of Muhammad, did all that. You
There you
guys,
go.
your ancestors, and the
This,
currently right now you people are doing that. So
yeah.
don't bring these subjects. We are talking about Islam inherently that has issues, and if you bring this and say this, then you will go into a rabbit hole that you can't even get out. Yes, sir, Sama.
Islam is my identity, is the most stupid man or a woman I have ever seen in my life, because I already respond to the stupidity on my channel more than once, and I said, when you kill 90% of the Christians of Egypt, you said it was 90% Christian. I'm sorry, Adam. It was 100% Christian. By the time Muhammad was born, Egypt was 100% a Christian country. Not because we killed those who did not believe in Christ, but because the entire country believed in Christ. Now, when the Muslim came and killed 90% of the Christian and they left 10%, and until yesterday, we got some Christian young ladies are kidnapped to be raped. We got Christian men who are killed. He thinks there is no persecution. What a stupid idiot. Let's go now to India and we kill 90% of this 18%. We're going to leave only 2%. or 1% of these Muslims, and we're going to kill the other 90%. Now, will he then say that they are persecuted? After all, we still have few thousand Muslims left in India. You stupid. 10% mean loss of 90%. That if that's not a persecution, what is persecution? How do you like if we kill 90% of any Muslim in any Muslim country of your choice? Will you consider this to be persecution? Stop! You're super stupid. Stop! Think about what you're writing down and stop repeating the same garbage. Man, that person is so sick. He's like demon possessed or something.
Oh yes, don't worry, he is. He is. Don't worry. Let's go back to our subject. I wanted to just highlight how they actually try to defend. And this is the reality. This is the fake reality and the fake media and the victim cards that these people do every day, day and night. And that is how they form the media. And let's go to the next point of Thaddeus, because then the media was formed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Thaddeus, like, first they tried to do that. Your boss checked it out. HR checked it out. They're like, it's nothing wrong. And somehow media got involved, and whenever media got involved, the media needs spicy news, and people like
Mm-hmm.
this Islam is my identity kind of a stupid morons who comes in and give fake news and play victim card and build a case. So please tell us about that part now.
Yes. So just to sum that up real quickly there, the HR investigation was launched. They told me at the time that they had a lawyer who specializes in this kind of issue look at the content, and they found that there was nothing that was a problematic. And I was told specifically, as long as the content doesn't change, you should be fine. However, the content didn't change, but the situation did. So Liz was fired after about a month and a half for performance-based reasons. And I wasn't there in the office when it happened, but I heard from other people that it was quite a disaster. I don't know a better word. That she was like yelling and screaming about how everyone there was crazy and she would get a revenge or something along those lines. So many months go by, everyone's moved on, we forgot all about Liz, and then suddenly I get a call one day, about a week and a half ago, from a reporter for the Columbus Dispatch. They are wanting to do a story about the toxic work environment at my workplace as it relates to my YouTube channel. I was told by the reporter that they were shown an HR complaint about me. Now, I don't think that the company is going to the press and embarrassing themselves by saying that, we have this horrible Islamophobic person working here. So the only person that could have gone to the press was, in fact, Liz. Months after she'd been fired, she was still obsessing about this, finally found someone who would take sympathy on her, and found a reporter who was willing to do a story for the Columbus Dispatch. The paper interviewed me, and they interviewed my employer. My employer claimed that it was an open investigation, which was false. They later had clarified to the paper that they had reopened the investigation as a result of the new information that had come to light. The paper highlighted two things. In particular, they made a couple other minor comments, but two things were deemed highly problematic. One was that I had dared to interview Robert Spencer, and the other was that I allegedly called Muslims crackhead clown individuals, which I did not do. After this article,
By the way, if somebody is saying something so stupid, calling them crackhead clown is not a big deal. You are not calling everybody in a community as crackhead clown. I call some people stupid, idiots, because those particular person is stupid and idiot. I'm not calling the whole community or the whole group as stupid and idiot. But yes, there are always useful idiots in this world, and anybody can be a useful stupid idiot at any given time. It is not necessary that it has to be a Muslim. It can be a Hindu, it can be a Christian, it can be a Jew, it can be anybody.
mm-hmm.
So basically, if you said something to somebody at a particular time that he's a crackhead clown, it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a particular statement for a particular somebody.
Yeah, so the irony here, so just to explain the context of the remark. So the remark was said on my channel. However, it's a soundbite of Ali Dawa calling Christians crackhead clown individuals. Yes, I did direct it at someone. Specifically, I directed it at
Oh,
a
so
couple
Ali
of.
Dawah can say it to the Christians, a crackhead clown,
Mm-hmm,
Well,
mm-hmm.
but a
can you
Christian
guys
cannot
help me out here
respond
a minute?
back.
I'm
So
sorry,
that is awesome. Yes, sir.
Adam. I need to somebody help me. What that phrase mean?
I
Crackhead, the one who has taken so much of a cocaine that his head is crack open, kind of, and a clown is a clown.
Okay, now for Muslims to believe in the things of Islam, what do you expect them to be but that? I mean, think about it. They believe the earth is flat. They believe when you're sick, you drink camel urine. They believe that the baby, and we can go on and on with all the ideology of Islam. If they're not crackhead, whatever this word they are, you want to say here, then what are they? I
Yeah,
mean,
Sama, you told me a story about a person, a mullah, stating something about brain leaving and getting in or something like that.
I have
Yeah,
to
tell
read
us
it
this
to you.
story. Tell us this story. Tell
That
us this
is
story.
that is like wow story. So he said, when you go visit with the mayor in Egypt, you have to understand the mayor in Egypt. It's in the village, a small tiny town. You normally use the donkey to go from one place to another. So he said, when you go, he said the problem with these people like us is the Muslim even who are thinking that they're using their head. So he said, when you go and visit the mayor in Egypt, you ride on your donkey. You go all the way from your house to the mayor's house on the donkey, and then you tie the donkey with a rope outside the house of the mayor. And then you go inside the mayor without your donkey. It is unacceptable for you to go inside the mayor house riding on your donkey. So it is with Muslims. They must leave, listen again, leave their brain outside the mosque. When they go inside the mosque, the brain of the Muslim is the donkey which people ride on to go meet with the mayor. If you're going to meet with Allah, you leave your stupid brain outside the mosque and you go inside the mosque without your brain.
So
That is
basically, a
exactly
Muslim,
why Muslims, that's a Muslim imam, that's almost
the
a
Muslim
Muslim.
Imam. So it's not you saying, it's the Muslim
That's
Imam
a
saying
Muslim.
to Muslims.
And Adam, that's not any Muslim. That is one of the top imam, a top sheikh in Egypt. It's like, wow. If he said
So
it, it's like, mashallah, mashallah.
wait. Let everyone settle in. So guys, now Usama said this. Okay, Usama said this. Usama quoted somebody. He quoted a Muslim Imam in Egypt saying that. But imagine if somebody will take a short clip out of this and use only the part where Usama is saying, leave the brain out and go inside the mosque. Anybody can take a small part and then present it as the statement of Usama, that dog. And this is something which is very, very crazy right now. That, like, just like Thaddeus said, that the crackhead clown word was used by Ali
Ali
Dawi.
Dawa.
Ali Dawi, I call him Dawi. He is the girlfriend of Mimi Hijab. You must see them how they sit together. But anyhow, so it is said by Ali Dawi. But then that term is associated with Thaddeus because he played it, and after playing that, he might have used that word a couple of times in the stream because this is very common. When we play somebody so stupid, saying something really stupid, you actually say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know what happens? A justice delayed is a justice denied. This is going to take quite long for Thaddeus. It's going to take a few years before this kind of a case could be resolved. It's going to take a year or two. But then again, it is a justice delayed. In these 2 years, the first 2-3 months, he has to go through financial problems, financial troubles. He has to go through uh, 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 insurance trouble and so many other troubles that he will have to go through now. Why? Because the people of his company did not do due diligence before removing him, because they got under the pressure, so called, of the media. So not only that his company should be penalized for that in future, but also the person who first went to the paper should be penalized, And the people should be penalized as well, that how dare they publish something without doing due diligence. So there should be three penalizing cases that needs to happen altogether. And I will urge everyone, because this should come in a historical case for the future, so that anybody could not do that. It has happened once, it shouldn't happen again. I don't want anybody to go through this which Thaddeus is going through, but whatever has happened now. We should make it a historical case. In every country, when a case judgment has happened, next time in future, the court, the lawyers uses an XYZ case as the precedence. I
So
think
they
this
can
case should become a presidential case for the
exactly.
future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I remember, Adam, the first article written in my own Venice Gondolier in Venice, Florida, about me. They actually wrote two articles, not just one, two articles. And amazingly, in the article, they said that they have met with me and talked with me, and that's what I said. When in reality, I never know these people. I never met with them. Maybe they met with somebody else, Muslims, who told him, some Muslim guy who told him, my name is Usama Daktar, but I never talked with them. And God's my witness. That is a case I can win easily in a court of law against them, because if they never met with me, if they never talked with me, give me the record. Who is the guy who talked to me or the lady? And it is reality that they can do stuff and get away with it. And if we leave it, we have to fight it. So I'm glad, my brother. Don't you dare stop. Don't you dare stop it. We're gonna fight it to the end. And somebody have to pay for their stupidity. They are stupid enough to cause you that trouble, and they have to pay for it. I'm not talking to just get your right back. That you need to penalize them, that this will not happen somewhere else in America against somebody else. That is exactly what we have to do.
Yeah, so I'll leave the exact asks up to the legal experts, but I definitely am pursuing legal action, and more importantly, I'm pursuing making this a public issue, because justice for me, financial compensation, whatever, uh, is great for me, but it doesn't really do a lot to address the problem. The problem is that people think they can get away with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They think that they can get away with firing someone for criticizing Islam. That the care and like-minded people think that they can silence anyone who speaks against Islam. And right now, they're kind of right, right? They're kind of right, because most people are, just like in the example of what's happening in Europe, they're more afraid of being accused of being racist than having evil done to them. So in Europe, you got people who are Muslims raping people who are not Muslims, and people are afraid to say anything about it. The law enforcement is afraid to arrest people because they'll be accused of being rapist, or of racist, not rapist,
Jesus. Yeah,
of
yeah.
being racist.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry, but if someone commits a crime, it doesn't matter what their skin color is, or what their religion is, or what their gender is, or anything else. They deserve to be punished for it. But
Yeah. The other things they're afraid of, that they are gonna upset the Muslim people who have not yet raped anybody else. You
mm-hmm.
see, it is like, wow, what a stupid even thoughts.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Obviously, most Muslims aren't going around raping people, and Muslims should, in theory, also be against people going around raping people.
Yeah, let
Sadly,
me give
that's
you
not
some
the
statistics here,
case.
brother. Before you leave this area, in case somebody say you're making it up, Majid Nawaz in England have done a study. It's a Muslim guy, have done a study, and by the way, he was sued by ACLU and CARE, and he won the case against him, and he made 3 point something million dollars. And his statement was 2% of Muslim Pakistani and Bangladeshi in England are responsible for 84% of child rape. That is,
Mm-hmm.
say those, brother. That's not it's not an easy thing to swallow. I'm not saying 2% raped 4%. 2% are responsible by court of law. That's its cases, and they were found guilty. They were responsible for 84% of the rape in England. So when you said earlier, a minute earlier, most of Muslims are raping, it is the little of the Muslims are doing most of the rape. Most of
Mm-hmm.
it. And if the Muslim in Europe will have the upper hand, trust me, There will not be a female in Europe who's not going to be raped. Little or old makes no difference. They just love, Muslim love to rape. They got the Sunnah of Muhammad into action, which means we're taking over, which means we are in charge, which means we have the authority over your women, your daughters, your sisters, your wives. We're gonna raise them all, and that's exactly what's happening in Europe. Go ahead, brother. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Thank you for the exact stats there. So 2%, right? 2% of the Muslim population has done 84% of the rapes. But the reason they're allowed to do this, right? So 2% of the any population is probably sick and desires to do this kind of thing. But the reason it allowed is because people like the reporter Danae King, who wrote the article against me, will shame and embarrass anyone who speaks up against this because they're Muslim. That's nonsense. They're criminals. All right, that I'm not saying Muslims in general are criminals. I'm saying these particular people are criminals, and someone needs to stand up and say something about it. And we can't because the press will shame us, our employers will fire us, etc. It's not right, right? So it's better, right? To be clear, it's better than in Pakistan, right? Where if a Christian said this, they would be jailed at best, if not killed by a mob. But it's still really, really bad situation that you can have these horrible things happening in the world and no one's allowed to say anything about them because certain people have gotten this idea in their mind that, well, you can't say anything mean about anyone who happens to be a Muslim because it will hurt their feelings and then all the Muslims will feel bad. I don't feel bad when a white male from my city is convicted of a crime. Why should a Muslim feel bad when a Muslim is convicted of a crime?
Yeah, because
Let me add something over here because Osama said something as in general, and I don't say things as in general because it's generally a generalization of everything is wrong. I would say any devout, absolute follower of the Quran and Sunnah is a rapist,
sure.
not any Muslim. So, because there are so many good human beings who are born into Muslim family and they do not know jack about Islam and they
Hmm.
are extremely good human beings and they think that they are good Muslims. But in fact, in reality, they are hypocrite because they are ignorant, either of the two. In fact, in reality, they are ignorant. And the Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And these ignorant people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge because they think that they are following a good thing without even reading and understanding that thing. And hence they believe that they are following something good, but in reality, they are following something really, really stupid and ignorant. And actually, they are not even following it because if they follow it, they will be the worst of the mankind,
Hmm.
literally. But they
Hmm.
don't even follow it, they just believe that, oh, Islam preaches this. Like, for example, let me give you an example before I go forward. Uh, my some of my family members has visited abroad. Some went to London back in 80s and 90s. Some went to America and Canada back in 90s and so on and so forth. And they came back, and you know what they say? You know, we in Pakistan, we Muslims have left our faith. We are not following anything of our faith. Look at these people in the West. These people have nothing. They have a corrupt book. They have a corrupt book. They are, most of them are not even Christian or Jews, and they are such good human beings. Their cars are unlocked. Their houses are unlocked. uh, they don't steal from the grocery store. In the grocery store they scan by themselves and pay and come out and stuff like that. And I would listen, I was like, wow, wow, the West has the true moralities of Islam. They are so good with other human beings, and they are nice with human beings, and they give equal right to everyone. This is what Islam teaches and all that. And I look, wow, wow, they are such. and and by the time I read Islam, I realized none of it is true. We are not supposed to give equal right to everyone. We, as a Muslim, we are not supposed to give equal right to everyone. We are not even supposed to say assalamu alaikum or hello to a Christian or Jew. If he says hello, I, as a Muslim, should be able to answer but I am not supposed to say it first. Like, this is how much it is written. There is no equal right. So and so, a Muslim cannot be killed for killing a, no, a Muslim, a non-Muslim.
Non-Muslims.
A Muslim cannot be killed in retaliation for killing a non-Muslim.
Yeah.
There is no equal rights. None. Zero. Nada. Their money is halal on us. We can take their money because Allah has made them, made us superior over them. So imagine this, that every single thing that I used to hear in Pakistan from some of the family members who visited abroad, saying, oh, they have the true Islamic values there. It's a bunch of lies. So that is why I say that a, a true believer, that's how the Quran actually explains that as well in Surah Baqarah and a couple of other surahs. Oh, Badawans, Islam has not crossed your throat. You saying you submit, Islam hasn't even crossed your throat until you submit to each and everything that Allah and His Apostle says.
Exactly.
So basically, there are so many Muslims in the world who are actually not even following Islam at all.
So, Adam, in simple word, we're going to judge Islam. I agree with you, by the way, 100%. So, in simple word, we're going to judge Islam by the teaching of Islam, by the ideology of Islam. Allah said, Muhammad said, if you are practicing such commands and such verses, you're a Muslim. If not, you're not a Muslim. And that's how we know there is no such a thing as radical or extreme or fundamental Muslim, unless you believe that Allah and Muhammad were radical and extreme and fundamental. And for any one of us or anyone in America to say, here is what Allah said, here's what Muhammad said, here's what Muslim must believe and do, then you're not anti-Muslims. You are a great Muslim scholar, and we should give you a salary from the Azhar University.
Absolutely. And I was stating the chapter number 49 of the 14, verse number 14. The Badawan says, we have believed. Say, you have not believed. But say, we have submitted, for the faith has not yet entered your heart or crossed your throat. And if you only obey Allah and His Messenger, then He will not deprive you from your deeds or anything. So basically, you saying I'm a Muslim, it doesn't make you a Muslim. But that's what the reality is. In the West, a lot of people think that they say, like, even, you know, Allah says in the Quran, if Muhammad will tell you to kill yourself, then you should kill yourself.
Actually, that was a challenge given by Allah to the Jewish people. If you love Allah, so kill yourself. This is so stupid anyway.
Yes, brother Thaddeus.
Yeah, so getting back to the story, the paper published a couple accusations against me. I talked to HR the next day. At this point, the reporter had asked questions. Then I talked to HR. The newspaper article hasn't been published yet. We kind of say, you know, like we're both agreeing that we don't know what's going to happen here. We'll just have to wait and see what the paper says, because the reality is whatever the reporter says is what people are going to believe. It doesn't matter what the truth of the matter is. Right?
Exactly.
If the reporter said that I was caught sacrificing kittens in my basement, that's what people would believe. It wouldn't. They wouldn't need any evidence for it.
Nope.
So the reporter, so then the article is published on Thursday. The article says that I have called Muslims crackhead clown individuals. That's the lead statement of the article. I certainly do not call Muslims in general that. It was said a total of one time towards the end of a live stream where I said that some of the people we had watched videos of, so entirely public figures, not random individuals here, right? People we'd watched videos of, I summarized the videos that we watched as being ridiculous, basically. Some of those videos, by the way, were not actually published by Muslims. They're published by white American males who are trying to grift Muslims into believing that they might convert to Islam so that they give them money. Like, oh, I love this in Islam. It's so great. I'm not converting, but I love this. So that was some of the individuals that took the most brunt of my criticism in that. Not even Muslims, mind you. And yet this means that I call all Muslims crackhead clowns. So the article is published. I'm put on administrative leave at work. They say that they will hire a third-party law firm to do a thorough investigation into my activities, and then they tell me that the investigation could be completed as early as tomorrow. I object. I say that's impossible. There's no way you can do a thorough investigation in 24 hours. I have several thousand hours of YouTube content. I also requested that I be interviewed as part of this investigation so that I could explain the context of any of the remarks that I made. Someone who is not coming to this from the background won't necessarily understand why we make fun of Ali Dawah, for example, right? They'll just say, oh, look, he's making fun of some Muslim. We have no idea why, but that's bad. Well, no, Ali Dawah deserves it, right? He's made all kinds of statements, all kinds of hateful statements, all kinds of ridiculous things, made himself a public figure, gets thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of donations for the work he does. He's subject to criticism. I'm not just going to some random person on the street and starting to make fun of them. I'm making fun of Ali Dawah. Anyway, and then less than 24 hours after that, so then, after they put me on administrative leave, the newspaper publishes a second article. The second article says that CARE Ohio calls for the immediate termination of Thaddeus Billman for his statements he made on the statements he allegedly made on his YouTube channel. After this article comes out, less than 24 hours later, I have a virtual call with the office. They don't even allow me to come in and do it in person. They insist to be virtual. They summarily fire me. They have zero sympathy. They don't express any difficulty in this at all. Basically, I did expect to be fired. Once the newspaper article was published, I expected to be fired. It's not right, but it is kind of the expectation, right? That the company, to save face, once this is a public issue, will fire you.
But
However,
if company is going to save face against the Constitution, then the company should be penalized, because saving face is secondary.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely wrong. I think that I was mistreated, discriminated against. I think I was illegally terminated. But I did expect it, right? I had thought about this many times while doing the YouTube channel, that this kind of thing could happen. And I had thought about it and said, if this does happen, then I will sue them for religious discrimination, because they'll be attacking my sincerely held religious beliefs. It is part of my belief system that I need to speak against the evil in Islam. It's not just like something I'm doing for a hobby or to make some money or something along those lines. It's a core essential to who I am to speak against Islam. I sincerely believe that this is my calling in life, is to speak against the evil in Islam specifically. Is there evil in other religions? Sure. Was I called to those specific religions? No, I speak about Islam. That's what and the reason is because I see the immense need for this, right? There are 1.8 billion, or whatever number you want to put on it, Muslims in the world, and there's a few dozen people who specifically focus on Islam. Meanwhile, there's a couple hundred thousand or a couple hundred million atheists, and you got like 99% of Christian apologetics focused on atheism. Is atheism wrong? Yes, absolutely. Is atheism horrible? Absolutely. But the need that I see, and I'm called to answer, is that all these good people who don't really believe in the teachings of Islam, but are trapped by this horrible system that keeps them ignorant, right? The story Osama told earlier teaches them to turn their brains off so they don't ever accidentally question Islam. That's what I need to fight against. And so, because I have this God-given calling to do this work, I'm doing it regardless of the consequences. I knew this was a possibility, so I was prepared for that. What I was not prepared for was the way I was treated by the company. Right. I worked there 8.5 years. I knew everyone there very personally maybe not a couple people who had just started within the recent weeks, but, I knew all the people who were important to making this decision very well. They knew me personally. They know I'm not a hateful individual. They could have chosen to acknowledge the difficulty of the situation. They could have asked me to resign. They could have asked me to delete content. I'm not saying I would have, but they could have done these types of things, right?
Yeah.
They could have done a lot of things, but instead it's, well, this was published in the newspaper. Get out of here, you human piece of garbage. And by the way, you're not allowed to come back into the office to pick up your own stuff because we're afraid that you will cause a scene and destroy the office.
You give me the right word, Thaddeus. We are afraid. They are afraid. Scared, the little baby girls and boys who work in your business, who are in charge of the business, and they're afraid. And that's the reality. By the way, last week we got a similar story, but it's the opposite way from Germany, where these Muslim in the mosque were teaching the hatred to the Jews and the hatred to the Christian, and literally the savage way of seeing Islam. And then there was a lawsuit. Then they said we'll have they actually the authority there said, oh, nothing wrong happened. Well, the people complained. This, okay, we found a third person, an idle one which does not have anything to do with us or the mosque, to investigate this. And they did the third investigation. As a matter of fact, I was just sending to my producer, Paul Sutliff, to come in our show right now and read the story. If he comes, he will read the details of it better than I'm saying it. But the third party, the idle party, which does not belong to this or that, found out nothing wrong. The mosque did not do anything wrong because they just were talking generally, not whatever is the excuse they give. So in England, sorry, in Germany, that was in Germany. In Germany, it's okay to say, may the curse of Allah be on the Jew. May the curse of Allah be on the Christian. May Allah give us victory against the Jews and the Christians. Meaning we're going to kill them all, wise them out. And that is okay in Germany. But for you to say those people who believe to kill the Jews and the Christian are not crazy, mental, deficient, whatever word you want to say, not whatever drugs they're using, the drugs of Allah and the drugs of Muhammad. If you say that, you're a bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
God help us. God help us.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So just to finish up the story, I asked for a copy of the supposed investigation that had been conducted and proven that I'm a hateful individual who can't be tolerated here in America. I was told that they would have to ask the law firm's permission to give me a copy, which is, of course, nonsense.
Whoa. Investigation is made to be given to the two party of the investigation. You and whoever you have insulted or say. This is, hello, when you get in a car accident, you get a piece of paper for what you said and a piece of paper for the other people who said whatever they said. When you have two cars, what, they're going to change the rules of America now? We're going to check with our law to see if we should give you the report? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so obviously this is utter nonsense. You don't pay a law firm to produce a document or a report for you and then have to ask their permission to give it to someone. So I don't know. I mean, it was less than 24 hours, right? So there's a good possibility that there is no investigation. They just fired me. The other possibility is that they were just too chicken to tell me no, that they won't give me a copy of the report. But I mean, I feel like I deserve a copy of the report. I deserve to know why I'm being fired.
When your lawyer, listen, brother, when your lawyer sent a letter to their lawyer on the spot, you're going to get it. Then I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Let's think about it.
And by the way, Thaddeus, when you get the copy, you need to make sure that your lawyer says which title of the video and what timestamp. These useful idiots need to do all of this research. And you know what you need to do at the end of the day? Go to that title, go to the timestamp, because without the timestamp, there's nothing. Because your word has to be at some timestamp. Yeah. Look at what you said 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after, and you put a full context, and that's it. You know, that's what Trump did as well. So Trump came up and he showed how they actually demonized him about the last day of his in office.
Yeah.
And when the full video he showed, like, imagine it was altogether very different words that he said, and like what the Democrats actually showed was a part of it. And that's exactly what I'm saying. When you look at a very small segment of a speech of anybody, it can make a very different meaning
Sure.
versus when you listen to the whole segment that he was saying. Like, I'll give you an example of my own. I was giving an interview in News Nation India. That's a news channel in India, about how I left Islam and all that. One of the segment was, I was talking about Pakistan, and then I said I left Pakistan, and then I just said this sentence: I left Pakistan and went left Pakistan. That's it. Small segment. And then I started speaking about Islam and all, and then I said it, made a statement, and I studied when I was not when I was in minority, and when I was in minority, and I found Islam to be entirely opposite. And they just took this segment and played it in maybe 20 different Islamic channels, that Adam was never a Muslim in Pakistan. He stated that he was in minority. In Pakistan, you cannot be in minority. So you go back to my interview and watch it in News Nation. Just rewind 3.5 minutes back. My context was, I left Pakistan and went abroad, and they just like, and then for the next 3 minutes I'm talking about how I was in abroad, and they picked up that segment, because obviously usual will do what, go 30
Yeah.
second back. They will
Yeah.
not go 3.5 minute
Okay.
back, because the whole context from 3.5 minute was about
Sure.
I was not in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And they made a whole 6 month propaganda against me, that he was always a Christian, he was never a Muslim, just to undermine what I was showing and exposing Islam about.
That is the
Yes.
deception of Islam, Adam. You know it better than anybody else on the media. I mean, literally, that's exactly what they do. If you go to CARE website right now, under the list of Islamophobia, look for Usama Dakdok or the Straight Way of Grace Ministry, and you see a video which I made here in Cleveland, Ohio. And they actually have their camera, and I have my, they did not know I have my camera, because they asked permission if they want. They said, we would like to record the show because a friend of mine, he actually could not come tonight, and he really want to come. But I said, oh, don't worry, I'll just take a video for you. And I said in my video, which I still have, it said, this gentleman here, that gentleman here is from CARE. He did not know I know he's from CARE. And I said, the reason he's recording me, and I gave him permission to record me, not because he have his best buddy could not come, because they're going to edit that video, and they're going to use it to make me say what I never said. And they're going to use it to stop me from speaking some other school. That is in Cleveland, Ohio, after we won the case in the court of law. Of course, it did not go all the way up there with ACLJ. Well, that's exactly what they did. Go watch the video. They're cutting me. I spoke 2.5 hours. They made a video of 17 minutes. How in the world you make 2.5 hours and 17 minutes? Even if I spoke as fast as the train, 300 miles an hour, you could not make it. And if you look at everything they did, Usama Dakdok said, and they show you in my video, I'm saying it. And now, if you see the whole entire 2.5 hours compared to the 17 minutes, boy, oh boy, Usama Dakdok should receive a great reward of teaching Islam. He is the best imam they ever have. But when they cut you off and edit it and put on the side, everybody watches their side and on CARE side. Of course, I'm a very bigot. I'm Islamophobic.
Brother, let
I'm
me
a
tell
hate
you.
monger.
Brother, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Even if I want you to speak for 20 minutes, you cannot. I have tried so many times to make you speak for just 20 minutes so that we can finish the program in 30 minutes. The 30 minutes program
But Adam,
with
if
you
you
goes
warm
to
up,
two
man, you
hours.
have to warm up. You
It's
don't run.
impossible for you to speak for just 20 minutes. So I like here, like you just as soon as you said 17 minutes, I was like, okay, done. That was edited. Like you don't even have to say anything else after that. 17 minutes of a lecture
I
from
don't
Osama
even warm up
is not
before the first
possible
50
in
minutes.
this world. All right,
God.
let's go forward on this one. You have some news articles that you sent me as well. This is
Mhm.
some Columbus news. What is this? Like, what is this? I'm ignorant over here. So please tell me, what is
Yeah.
this
So
Columbus Dispatch,
mhm.
and what is this? Like a newspaper or something?
Yeah, so the Columbus Dispatch is the primary newspaper of Columbus, Ohio, and has a circulation of
I only know
40,000 or so.
Columbus by a song. in India that we listen to is called Columbus, Columbus, chutti hai aayi. It's like Columbus, Columbus, it is a holiday. Let's go and have some fun, kind of a thing. So that's my association with Columbus. So please show it.
Yeah, so Columbus, Ohio is a city of about 2 million people in the total metropolitan area, so pretty substantial area. The primary newspaper for the area is the Columbus Dispatch, and they chose to. This is how I got in trouble, right? Because the company had already looked at my channel previously and found it to be not problematic, but because it was published in the newspaper, well, then the city government, some officials at the city government, some officials at the county board decided to raise some concern about it, and then CARE jumps on it and says this guy needs to be fired. And then miraculously, the very thorough investigation was wrapped up near instantaneously, and I was found guilty. Not told exactly what I had done. The official termination papers do not list any reason for termination. They just say that it has been decided that you'll be terminated, basically. I don't remember the exact wording off the top of my head, but they don't list a reason. Verbally, I was told that I was being fired for values not congruent with the organization. Of course, we all know that the real reason I was fired is because the story was embarrassing to the company. And that's the problem here, right? They're not firing me because of anything I said, really. They're not firing me because of the content of my channel, really. They're firing me because the cancel culture, the social justice warriors, the you can't say anything mean about anyone unless they're a Christian crowd said, this is a bad guy. You need to get rid of him or there's going to be problems for you. And then they said, okay, we oblige. He's gone. That's basically how it went down.
All right. So would you like to show the link on screen
Yeah,
or how?
sure. Do you want me to pull it up or?
Yeah, so because I want you to read the certain segments of those links and just share one screen page and then read through the major things, which is very, very important. That's why I would like you to do that because, you being there, you can display it better than me.
Yep, no
I have
problem.
shared the links with everyone already in the live chat so they can actually read it. And in the meantime,
Yeah,
Islam.
that is a very good point. That I think there is some sort of geolocation thing that if you're not from the immediate area, it might put it
Yes.
behind a paywall. But for me, it's not behind a paywall. So let me share that. Give me 1 second here.
So in the meantime, Islam, the identity guy, just wait, chill, relax. We'll give you the link. Let us do our first job of this. I always do an open live stream because I'm talking about Islam. Right now, we are talking about a particular incident. I'm not talking about generally Islam, but obviously, people like you are always in a trouble where they have to say something to derail the topic. And you know what? Let me tell you, I have dealt with people like you so many times. It's unbelievable. So I will finish my topic before you could join in. So don't worry, take a chill. I know how to shut you up, which is what I did. I go live every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You could have joined so many times in the past. Why are you so anxious to join in this live stream? Yes, brother Thaddeus, I'm opening it. There you go.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we got this is the first of the 3 articles that they wrote about me. Headline in the newspaper: Community Shelter Board employee under investigation for anti-Islam YouTube channel by Danae King. And we got a AI summary and then the actual story starts. A community shelter board employee is under investigation after the Dispatch asked questions about his YouTube channel. On the channel, Thaddeus Billman calls Muslims crackhead clown individuals and openly states that he's a man the Southern Poverty Law Center calls one of America's most prolific and vociferous anti-Muslim propagandists.
Oh wow.
Billman, operations
Wow.
administrator.
Man, this is so by saying this, what Sam Shamoon is doing or what David Wood is doing, they should have been in jail anyways now. So why are they not in jail?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the First Amendment right in America. You can say whatever you want to say as long as you are not calling to kill somebody.
But the
That's it.
Muslims, no, excuse me, the Muslims are talking about killing somebody, and they can get away with it in America.
Oh yes, thank you so very much.
Sure.
That's true as well. By the way, your voice just became so clear and so loud. I don't know what you did.
I didn't do anything.
All right. So that man, of course, is Robert Spencer. Their great critique, the Southern Poverty Law Center, who is explicitly anti-Christian and has targeted all kinds of horrible organizations like churches and such as hate, labeled them as hate groups, but somehow as a very important figure for the news media.
Because
Anyway,
the
their great
SPLC,
critique against Robert is that he writes a lot. That's
yeah,
basically what they wrote there. That, oh, Robert, he writes a lot against Islam. Okay. Wow. That's the
that's
best you could
stupid.
come up with.
They're stupid,
All right,
man.
so the article continues. Billman, operation administrator at the shelter board, interviewed anti-Muslim figure Robert Spencer in October on his YouTube channel titled Reasoned Answers. The channel has 26,000 subscribers and 355 videos. Now, Robert is not anti-Muslim. He's against Islam. I know it's very confusing that there's a difference between a Muslim person and the religion of Islam, but just
We
thought I should
already
say that.
explained it.
And
We already
also,
explained it.
Yeah, that show you
yes.
how stupid our the American people are, but that's okay.
And also, my title at Community Shelterboard was not operations administrator, it was actually data analyst. So the reporter didn't even get my job title right. Kind of shows you the level of effort put into this news article. Let's continue on. Through Billman's associated website, reasonanswers.com, though Billman's associated website, reasonanswers.com, states he's a Christian apologist, primarily concerned with proselytizing and converting Muslims to Christianity. All true, by the way. It's concerning that he not only hosted Spencer, but said he's a fan of him, said Sahar Salud, director of the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding. What Sahar has to do with any of this, I have no idea. They have to get some random person who has no clue about anything to give their opinion about something that the reporter told them, which is that I'm a fan of Robert Spencer. Well, shame on me for saying that someone who spends his entire life documenting jihad attacks that the media is afraid to cover is worthy of admiration. The irony is here, when I interviewed Robert, we were actually, I don't want to call it debating exactly, but we were disagreeing. We had different opinions about a subject, and that was the purpose of the show. So I had Robert on to tell him he was wrong about something, and this is why I am a hateful person, is because I said
Man,
I
they're
admire his
supposed to
work.
reward you for doing that to Robert, not to punish you for Robert. They should, man, they got it backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Having somebody like Robert Spencer, who he looks up to, it might give us some insight into how Billman views Muslims as well. Well, it might give you some insight, or you could just actually ask me how I view Muslims, or you could watch my YouTube channel. But hey, who has time for any of that? He talked to Robert Spencer. He must be a horrible person, says some idiot who has no idea anything about me, but is worthy of being put in this news article. When asked about his channel, Billman said, "It's not a secret. My employer is aware the channel exists and they have reviewed it." All true. My private views or YouTube views are not relevant to my job. Also true. Any views I hold do not impact the work I do. Also true. One of the things I told the HR before I was fired, as we were, discussing it on a more friendly manner, was I literally can't think of a way I could discriminate against people, even if I wanted to. I don't want to discriminate against anyone, Muslims included. But I literally couldn't, even if I wanted to, because of the nature of my job, analyzing data. I don't have any control over how anyone is treated by are partner agencies which give direct services to homeless people. At CSB, we're an overarching governing organization that provides funding for the actual homeless shelters. We don't do any direct client services. And all I'm doing is analyzing the data provided by the homeless shelters. There's no way I could discriminate. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I still was worthy of being fired. At the community
So
shelter
let me
board,
just pause it here. Let me just pause it here. By this logic, Saudi Arabia should be attacked for discriminating, because in Saudi Arabia, in Makkah, nobody can enter. There's a road. If you go and Google it, it's written Muslims and non-Muslims should exit. So you just can't even enter as a non-Muslim in Makkah. You just simply cannot. They are discriminating based on religion. So if this logic is there, then based on this logic, America should attack Saudi Arabia until they actually remove this stupidity. This is how simple it is. But the problem here is America gives freedom to speak about anything on the street, on the road. That is the God-given right of any human being, that we have a speech, we can agree to something and we can disagree to something. We can like something and we can dislike something. I do not understand what you read here has any implication in the United States where you live. You don't live in Pakistan. You don't live in Saudi Arabia. You don't live in Iraq. You don't live in Iran. You live in United States of America. It is your constitutional right to hold an opinion about anything or anybody, even humans. You can hold an opinion about human. That is what it is. And at the same time, you wanted to disagree with Robert Spencer about something. I don't know exactly what you disagreed with because I have not watched that show. I cannot talk about that. But most of the things that I have heard from Robert Spencer so far, I don't think he's wrong at any point. Maybe you have done more in-depth analysis and you can figure out certain areas, because I have not done that much of an analysis. I have not studied a lot of his books. I have studied just a few of them. And most of the things that I see, he has done an extensive research on jihad, and he knows what he's speaking. It's really hard to criticize or reject something that he is saying. And if you have found something, man, I need to watch that show as well. I'm gonna definitely watch that show now.
So Robert and I disagree over whether Muhammad was a historical figure or not. Robert believes that Muhammad was a fictional character invented to justify the religion, or the emerging religion, basically to justify the conquest, which then the religion gets tacked onto. Whereas I think that Muhammad was a historical figure, so that's what we were.
Oh, man, I can have a debate with you on that. I'm so with Robert Spencer on this one.
I am against both of you and Robert Spencer. We can win the debates here, those. Trust me. These people are joking.
Okay, I can have a debate with you and Osama at the same time, because really I can't even find Muhammad. So okay, let me just tell you something. When I speak about Jesus and somebody comes to me, Jesus never existed, and I was like, really? So the follower of Jesus is writing about him, the anti-Jesus are writing about him, Jews are writing about him, Romans are writing about him, and you have historical evidences. Rather, all the historians, renowned historians, let me just put renowned, there are some stupid idiots as well. Every single renowned historian.
BC and AD is a great evidence, man.
So imagine, it is so clear that there was a historical person, Jesus. The only thing that you can reject is whether he was God or not, whether he was divine or not, whether he come in as God, son of man of Daniel, or was he a human, simply a good teacher. That is what you can disagree on. Okay, but you cannot disagree on that he was a historical figure. Problem with Muhammad is, I don't care whether he was prophet or not, but there is no historical data
And,
outside the Islamic
and
sources
brother,
about this man named Muhammad in Makkah,
brother,
Medina.
the reason is very simple because he was very humble and he does not want to show off like you have with Jesus followers. You see, he was very humble. What's wrong with you, man?
All right, let's go forward. Let's
In
go
any
forward.
case,
Let's,
we can definitely discuss that another
yeah.
time, but it's not really relevant right now. So, continuing on with the article. At the Community Shelter Board, Thaddeus or Billman analyzes data, ensures its integrity, does research proofs, and edits materials and prepares and submits reports according to the nonprofit's website. That is an accurate description of the job I did. Nothing about that allows me to discriminate against Muslims, especially since they don't collect religious information on people who enter the shelter. I literally have no idea how many Muslim people are in the shelters of Columbus, Ohio, because it's not information that we collect. But somehow I was apparently discriminating against them or whatever. He also oversees information technology at CSB and offers administrative support for its data and evaluation team. All true. The CSB, which is kind of weird because it would never be called the CSB, but anyway, is a nonprofit that coordinates funding for local agencies serving people experiencing homelessness, such as shelters and warming centers. Thank you. We're a nonprofit coordinating funding. We're not giving client services. I wouldn't do this, but even if I wanted to, I couldn't approach a man who looks Muslim or whatever that means, or has the name Muhammad or whatever else, at a shelter and start talking to him. Start cursing him out. Start calling him names, whatever. I literally couldn't do that because it's not part of the work that Community Shelter Board does. We coordinate funding. We're a bureaucratic organization, not a client services organization. Continuing on, CSB was 99% funded by public support in 2023, according to its IRS Form 990, which includes public funding from the city, county, state, and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, as a normal person would call it. What is deceptive there is that about, off the top of my head, not exact number, but about 20% of the funding comes from donations by individuals. It's considered public funding because it is a public charity, but it comes from private individuals. So about 80%, give or take, funded by government dollars and 20% funded by private dollars. 70% government, 10% United Way, 20% private dollars, give or take.
Okay.
Recently, CSB officials asked both city and county officials for $46 million in sustained funding, which has nothing to do with anything.
So basically, I'm
That's just
curious because if it is 70% government funding and US aid has gone down the drain, they wanted to reduce staff and they're like, okay, let's just reduce him in this manner. They're like, okay, let's reduce him in this manner. We don't have to pay him severance. So they actually tried to save their severance for now. And they're like, okay, if Thaddeus is going to sue us, by the time the sue finishes, our company will be bankrupt anyways. So we will not have to pay him anything. I think that's what they are thinking, because they know what they are doing is going to get back to them very easily. And I think that they were thinking, we're going to go down the drain anyways. So why give some more severance to Thaddeus? Like this is the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, this is unconstitutional for them to do that when they are a company which gives loan to the poor people. Otherwise, I don't even see this kind of a stupidity being done by some kind of this organization. Sure. I can't perceive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's what happened, but I don't think they're trying to save money.
Maybe they are getting some money from the CARE, because Protestant believers said you can literally hear CARE talking in this article, or maybe they are getting some money from care, and if the care will go away, government funding is already going away, and they wanted care to be on their side to give them money. So I'm just speculating because I don't know about this organization. I heard this name from your mouth for the very first time. But this article is speaking
Hmm.
out loud
Yeah,
that
I mean,
these
no
are
one outside of
care.
Columbus would have heard of it. Yeah, so I would suggest that two things that were concerning to them as far as funding goes. One, the city and county are essentially, or maybe literally entirely, Democrats on the as far as the elected officials go. So they were concerned about them raising concerns and pulling the city funding in addition to the possibility of losing federal funding. Although HUD funding is prescribed a couple years in advance, so they wouldn't be losing HUD funding anytime soon, regardless. So that's one thing that they'd be concerned about. And then the other thing I think they would be concerned about is the possibility of private donors. In theory, people like care, right? Saying, we don't want to associate with you because of this horrible Thaddeus guy, and pulling the private funding, which of course can be pulled instantaneously. So between the city, county, and private dollars, there was definitely a big problem. Ironically here, as a quasi-government organization, if anything, my rights are stronger, my speech rights are stronger, more clearly protected by law, because the Constitution basically outlines what the government has to do. There's some nuances about how it's applied to private citizens. Now, a private organization can't discriminate against you for your religious beliefs either, but it's even more clear-cut when it's a government organization. So CSB being quasi-government works in my favor on the legal issues here. Continuing on with the article, Billman said he was aware. When first reached for comment, the dispatch, the CSB said this is now an active investigation. So when they first called and talked to the dispatch, or talked to my employer, I mean, they claimed that it was an ongoing investigation, that they already knew about this, that they were already considering firing me, whatever. However, when I talked to the reporter and told her that wasn't the case, CSB ends up having to clarify that they had reopened the investigation after previously clearing me of any wrongdoing. Billman said he was aware of a prior complaint filed against him that was investigated, but said a legal team reviewed his actions and it was determined that he was within bounds. Billman said he was told the investigation was complete. All true. That's what I was told at the time. And as Osama pointed out earlier, in the event of a lawsuit, which is a very high probability, the discovery process will give me access to everything that their lawyers did. So I will get all of this on the record. It won't just be my word anymore. It will be documents saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was found not to be doing anything wrong, Billman said, of the previous investigation. I never expressed any views at work. There was a formal process to make sure I wasn't doing anything wrong or outside of company policies. All that's true. I think the first investigation was a real investigation that lasted a couple weeks. Obviously, I don't know the precise details, but based on the timing of when Liz was talking to other people and the timing of when I found out about it, I think there probably was an investigation that took a couple weeks. I.e., it was a real investigation, not 24 hours. As specifically about prior complaints or investigations, CSB said questions from the dispatch opened up new concerns, leading to HR reopening the case. So you see, there they admit they had to reopen it, whereas they previously tried to say it was ongoing. On Thursday afternoon, the Shelter Board spokesperson, Neil Jurist, reached out to say that Billman, saying he was cleared of wrongdoing, may, quote, give the impression that CSB conducted a formal review of his platform and concluded that he engaged in no violations of CSB's code of conduct and other policies. Indeed, it might. And said the matter is still under investigation, she said. It might give that impression because that's the exact impression they gave me about that first investigation. Their story's since changed. They're now claiming that the first time they investigated me, they only looked at whether I had been doing this during work hours from my work computer. And they didn't actually look at the content at all. But at the time, I said something along the lines of, I'm glad this came up because I always it was always in the back of my mind that the content could become a problem, and I was told as long as the content doesn't change, there shouldn't be an issue. Content didn't change, an issue arose. CSB does not comment on personnel matters, particular
So this goes
investigations, she
against the
said via
company as well
email.
then. This goes against the company as well
Yes.
that they said as long as the content doesn't change, it's all good. But then some newspaper wrote something and they removed you. That's just stupidity. It's this is calls for an action
Yes.
because when they actually did an investigation to begin with, and the investigation, you did not change your content, it is all there, and the investigation says that you haven't done anything. What changed? So it was a double investigation. First investigation, nothing came out. Second investigation, there was no second investigation. They just removed you because they got under pressure. This calls for a stupid, idiotic company to begin with. That's how I will put it,
Yeah,
whether
that's
you
kind
will
of
or
my
not.
feelings here.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I think that the reason they want to claim there was no first investigation is because it will look really bad for them if they said that they had previously done an investigation and didn't see a problem, and now the newspaper saying there was a problem here. Now they're just claiming, oh, we didn't really investigate it the first time. Big
Oh,
mistake.
yeah. If I believe if you follow all this, it will go back to care. I guarantee you, 100%. That is a work of care, no more or less. And the little girls work in your company got scared from care, and they decided to get rid of you, so they don't have any problem with care. By the way, here's the good news. I'm hoping and praying within the next 6 months, care will be considered a Muslim Brotherhood jihad organization, and they will be losing all their chapters all over this country of non-profit organization, and there are some of the leaders will be investigated. And God is my witness, when that day come, it will be over for Muslims.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And we
that
already
that should
have a
happen.
Senator Ted Cruz, and we have a congressman, which we wrote to him this morning, by the way. Straight Wave Grace Ministry wrote to this too, the senator and the Congress in Texas. We will help with everything we can.
We have a message from Saturn, all the way from Saturn. You should sue them for slander as well.
Sure.
Okay,
That is
that's
what Najib Nawaz did, by the way. The money he made out of the ACLU is because they call him Islamophobe, not realizing that he's a Muslim for what he was doing from England. Imagine that he made 3 point some, he made at least $3 million. I don't know how much he pays the lawyers, but that's how much his case was. So maybe I've become your best friend, Thaddeus. So when you make the big money, you can, support me a little bit here and there. It's not gonna hurt anything. I'm your friend now. Remember?
and by the way, Thaddeus, I don't know if have you opened some GoFundMe kind of a page where
You
people
should.
could fund you and you need to pursue this case, put
Yeah.
this as a case, and maybe open a GoFundMe case, so that I know that you don't have a job and following a court case and everything at this moment will be difficult. You should open a GoFundMe page if you have or haven't.
Yeah, so I'm waiting till I actually have an idea of what the legal cost may be
Well,
before I would
it
open
will
a
cost you money,
specific.
brother, to live. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
even
but
if
I
you're
mean
calling
like
a
the
lawyer.
specific dollar amount, right?
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
it's a very
so
good idea, and every and each one of us will advertise it on their channel, and the Lord will provide for a little bit. He will not hurt anything. If you don't need it in the future, you can always give it away to some ministry, whatever.
mhm. Yeah, so I will put a link to my Patreon in the YouTube chat now if you want to support me. As far as like a specific call for fundraising, that will come at a later
Sure.
time. Right now, my focus is on getting the word out, making people aware of the situation. So I'm not like strongly encouraging people to donate, but yes, I am out of work. I do have costs. I have a disabled wife whose medical coverage costs on average $3,000 a month, which is part of the reason why I could never even consider full time evangelism. So yes, I have expenses. I also I do want to be clear. I'm not like in desperate need of money. I have savings and I have people in my personal life who are able to support some of my living expenses.
The Lord will provide, brother. The Lord will provide,
Amen.
but
Amen.
don't
Amen.
don't steal away a blessing from God to us if we can help in one way or another.
Yeah, so absolutely. If you want to sign up at my Patreon page, I posted that in the chat. Also, if you want other options, like you don't like Patreon for some reason, you want a different option, the video description of any of my videos, especially the recent one on this particular subject, lists other funding options. And like I said, I'm definitely pursuing legal action, but I want to wait till I have a better idea what that'll entail before asking the community for anything. All right, so continuing with the news article here. The Shelter Board went on to say it does not tolerate discrimination or hate in any form. Well, I don't tolerate hate or discrimination in any form. However, I would suggest that the Shelter Board does tolerate discrimination against Christians, or at least the type of Christian who is willing to speak up publicly against the evils of Islam. Continuing on, we take all concerns regarding policy violations seriously and are actively investigating the matter in accordance with our established policies, procedures, and core values, the CSP statement said. CSP supports all communities, regardless of religious background, except Christians, and remains committed to ensuring that all employees and clients are treated with dignity and respect. Given the ongoing investigation, we are unable to provide additional comments at this time. Well, I think that those comments probably are the entirety of said ongoing investigation anyway.
Makes sense.
All right. Continuing on. Billman's open challenge to Muslim. As to the content of his YouTube channel, which he started in April 2019, Billman says he criticizes Islam, not Muslim people, true, and that there is a difference between the two. True. We've already discussed that. And that's exactly what I told the reporter when she asked why I called Muslims names when I didn't call Muslims names. The description of Billman's channel states that he is, quote, dedicated to providing well-researched videos explaining the Christian faith in light of unbelieving objections. It also says Billman's main focuses are on determining the meaning of the Bible and outreach to thoughtful Muslims. That is an accurate statement of what my channel is about. It's about facts, not hatred. He has an open challenge to Muslims who think they can prove Islam true and posted a video challenging Muslims to bring their best arguments that Islam is true in October 2022. I've actually posted videos along those lines probably a dozen times, but I imagine one of them was posted in October 2022 as well. There's a section on his YouTube channel labeled Critiques of Islam and another titled Islam vs. Christianity. True. Billman said Spencer's critique of Islam is legitimate, though he said he doesn't agree with every statement Spencer has made. And his critique of Islam is that the sources say to go and kill unbelievers. I would say that's a valid critique of Islam. Silly me saying that that is a valid thing to be against. Spencer has written a lot and spoken out often using rhetoric that's anti-Muslim, Sullivan said. Spencer's work was quoted 64 times in the manifesto of Anders Breivik, who killed 77 people in Norway in 2011 with bombs and guns, according to the New York Times. So what? What were those quotes exactly? Was that Spencer saying go and kill people? Was it that Spencer saying go and kill Muslims so that they don't kill you? No. That was Spencer quoting Hadith, quoting Islamic sources, saying what they said, and Breivik decided to quote him on it. Wow, that really proves that Spencer's a horrible guy. Because a nutcase who did not even identify as a Christian went and killed some people because he was afraid of the politicalization. Oh, actually, he's afraid of exactly what the Columbus Dispatch is doing here. That anyone critical of Islam is silenced. That's what he was afraid of. I'm not saying you should go and kill people, but he said, I can't speak in public. I can't say these things. I'm not allowed to. That my only choice is to go and kill people and raise a storm because that's what they do in Islam and they get everyone on their side. But that makes Robert the bad guy. And me the bad guy for talking to Robert.
Yeah. Amazing. It's amazing. How dare you to say Islam is a hateful religion? I hate you and I'll kill you.
Man, this
He's a
whole
fair
article.
individual.
You should save, Thaddeus. You should save this article because they can just change it.
I did.
This article you should save it, and because this literally, like, if you play this article and play the videos, you will see it's just crazy. It's like bunch of lies, man.
And they're smart. They are mixing some truths with lies, Adam. It's not just lies.
It's always
So
like that, brother. Like, a lie cannot stand
I know.
without the mix of
But
a truth. They always have to do
they're
that.
doing it, Adam. They're doing it in a deceptive ways that if you do not know anything about Thaddeus and you know nothing about Islam, oh, they're taking his side. No, they're not taking his side. So they look like they're holding a stick in the middle when in reality they're stabbing him with a knife in his back.
It's just it's just crazy. Oh, crackhead clown again.
I like that word,
Yep,
crackhead
yep.
clown.
So we're going to get to my
I'm gonna use it
response
from
to
now
this,
on.
which,
Thaddeus, do you give me permission to use that cracked clown individuals? Can I use that?
yep, yep, yep. I
From
mean, you
now
got
on,
to
I'm gonna
get
use it.
Ali Dawa's permission, I guess, because he came up with it. So, continuing with the article, he's a fair individual, Billman said of Spencer. He presents accurate information. If someone got upset about that and decided to commit a violent act, that's up to that person, not Spencer. So, I did not know the context of what they were going to write. I didn't know they were going to make this about brothers. I assumed that they were saying a Muslim got upset at Spencer when they asked me how I feel about Spencer inspiring terrorist attacks, but that's why that's worded the way it is. All right, now we got the crackhead clown individual section. A more than 4-hour video on Billman's channel from December 8th is titled Watching Islamic Shorts Until I Find a Valid Argument. It is described as Billman watching and reacting to YouTube shorts, quote, until I find someone who makes a valid point or my brain completely melts down from the garbage. This could take a while. That is indeed the premise of the show. And I'm just going to keep watching shorts that YouTube recommends me about Islam until I find someone who makes a valid argument for Islam or I give up. In the video, he said he would keep going until he heard a valid argument or, quote, I give up and pass out and die. Then he laughed. Oh my gosh, I laughed. That's terrible. During the video,
Laughing is
he walked
illegal. It destroys the soul. Don't you know that? Muhammad said laughing is bad. It destroys your soul, man.
It is clear. Listen, guys, it's clear in the word of Allah. Do not rejoice. Surely Allah does not love the rejoicing one. End of story. Don't you dare smile. Don't you dare laugh. That is insulting to the word of Allah. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the fact that I laughed should kind of give you a clue that we're not like 100% completely serious, that we're joking around a little bit, but whatever. During the video, he mocked the people in the videos he was watching, frequently pausing to add commentary as well. Well, I don't know.
Duh,
So
that's
I
the
mocked them
purpose.
and add commentary.
That is the
I mean, isn't that the point of reacting to something? Is to add commentary?
That's
I
like
don't
a reaction. This is called a reaction. And YouTube, you make reaction. Man, that is crazy. Who's this joker? Like this guy who wrote this article is a crackhead clown to begin with.
Danae King is the lady who wrote this. At one point, he called a person's description of Islam a fantasy story. Yeah, because they were telling a fantasy story that had nothing to do with anything found in Islamic sources. Oh my goodness, I criticized someone for saying something that not found in Islamic texts is true Islam. Man, I'm horrible. Horrible, horrible person. And then at the end of it, Billman said, this is a summary of what we watched today, and plays a clip of someone, we can't figure out who, someone saying crackhead clown individuals. Billman then repeats it, saying we watched a bunch of crackhead clown individuals. Now, to be fair to me, I did say that, right? Those words are true, but I was asked for a summary, right? And we did watch a bunch of crazy
you
people.
repeated. You repeated the video. Man,
Someone
that is so
said this.
crazy.
We don't know who. Even though I told the reporter before she wrote this article that, or at least before it was published, that it was Ali Dawa, a very popular Muslim instigator with over 1 million subscribers. I did tell her that, but it didn't make it into the article. It's just someone said it. We don't know who. We don't know why. We have no idea. When asked
So
about the
basically,
remark, Billman
Muslims
laughed
can
and
say
said he
whatever
found
they
it
want to
funny.
say.
Mm-hmm.
So I was saying, so Muslims can say whatever they
What?
want to say without any repercussion, and they will say whatever they want to say. But a Christian
Because
cannot.
they have freedom of religion, man. Freedom
Oh,
of speech.
there.
Yeah,
No,
they
we
do.
don't. Okay, perfect. All right, I got it. Sorry, I said that. Sorry. Take my words back.
But Thaddeus does not have that one because
When
he's
asked
white.
about the remark, Billman laughed.
He's white American. Whatever words you want to put on him. Yeah.
And most importantly, Christian. Most importantly,
Oh,
Christian.
man, you're a Christian too?
When asked
You,
about the
Oh my
oh
remark, Billman laughed.
man, with a cross on your
Why
shirt,
do you keep
that
telling me
is
that you're a Christian?
that is the
Listen.
man. You can't say that. How
I've been
dare you open
talking
your
with
mouth?
you for 2 hours, and now you tell me you're a Christian? I'm out, man. I'm leaving. Just kidding. I'm not going anywhere.
We have to leave, brother
Yeah,
Sama. There you
you know,
go.
I mean, that is in the end the charge against me, right? Is that he truly believes in Christianity and is willing to do whatever it takes to have other people also experience the eternal life of Jesus Christ in
Hey, we
paradise.
both left, by the way. You know
That
that,
is
right?
what my crime here is, that I speak to Muslims occasionally, usually pretty friendly, but occasionally in a somewhat harsh tone because I know that's what they'll listen to. Man, I'm terrible. So when asked about the remark, Billman laughed and said he found it funny as a Muslim person said it originally and he played it in jest. I did actually explain more than just a Muslim person said it, but I honestly think that's very funny that it's taken out of context, he said. Not everything we say is at the same level of seriousness. We joke around. So so when the reporter asked me, basically, how do you respond to the accusation that you call Muslims crackhead clowns? My natural reaction was to laugh because it was so ridiculous, so insane that someone would attribute these words to me as like the normal thing I do. That this is just what I go around doing, is calling Muslims name. Because I knew exactly. And after I laughed, I explained it to her. I said, the reason I'm laughing is because this is a clip I play to mock a guy who said this about me, said this about Christians like me, a guy who's on the other side and very popular with millions of subscribers. I also said his name, Ali Dawa, and he plays that. He says this about Christians, so I play it back to mock him and his ridiculous hatred towards me.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
That doesn't get in the article, just that I laughed. All we get in here is that I laughed, not any of the reason why I found it so funny that this was being made as an
Do not
accusation.
laugh. Listen, brother, you
And
need
then
to
after
stop laughing.
that, after my explanation, the reporter asked a follow-up question. She said, well, you said the words as well, after playing the clip. And then I said, to the extent that there's a level of seriousness to that, I'm mocking public speakers, people on YouTube who have made themselves subject of criticism, not random individuals. And that's why, but she cut off that part and just put, not everything is at the same level of seriousness. Because I said, I don't really sincerely believe that he's on crack, right? I don't sincerely believe that he is a literal clown. I am saying I'm using his specific words to mock him, but to the extent I am being serious and saying this is worthy of criticism, I'm doing it against public figures. That's what I said. And she cut off the part about public figures and whatnot, although she does put it in eventually. Oh, it's the next sentence. Yeah, Billman also defended criticizing what he referred to as public figures who make YouTube videos. I don't know why he criticized what he referred to as public figures. You're publishing a video on YouTube to get public attention. I think you're a public figure. I don't know why it's only me calling them public figures. People don't publish videos on YouTube because they want no one to watch it. They publish videos on YouTube because they want to be a public figure.
Hey, you are a public figure with 25,000 subscribers. He is not a public figure with 1 million subscribers. Man, that is crazy. These guys
Correct.
are like this. Okay, listen. Hey, listen, the article writer. What's the name of this article writer?
Danae King.
Hey, Dene King. Basically, my friend, not my friend. I can't even call you my friend. Uh, sorry. A human being, Dene, whatever your name is, you are a crackhead clown by writing this. You should be fired from your job. You are not doing justice to the job, which is posting the news in the right manner. Your job is doing journalism, not personally attacking somebody. And this article is all about personal attack. It has nothing to do with journalism. It's a spit on journalism. This article is a spit, a slap on journalism. You should be fired from your job. That's the reality. Yes,
Why
brother,
not?
please
Why
continue.
not, Adam? Why not we offer him a chance to come and we can educate him about Islam, so he will write an apology and make a better article and ask and demand that the people will forgive him for his incredible foolishness and stupidity about what he did in that article. I mean, that would
Brother,
be grace.
if he is willing to do that, I will take my stance back. But what I have seen in my life so far, these secular brain dump idiots, they are actually not willing to have a reasonable discussion with you or me at all. They are not, because Thaddeus already had this discussion with him, like he's saying. He's telling him these things. He told him who actually said that. He told him many things in this article that he is responding. So basically, he already had some conversation with this brain dumb idiot. And like I say in my live streams a lot of times, you can wake a sleeping person up. You can
Hmm.
wake a sleeping person up, but you cannot wake a person who is acting to be asleep. You cannot wake a person who's acting to be asleep, because
Yeah.
he's acting to be asleep. He knows what he is doing wrong, but he's acting it
So
to
you,
be
you don't
asleep.
think he's ignorant or stupid?
No, I think he is brain dump secular who wants to do this. He
Hmm.
is not doing justice to journalism. He is a sick person for this society. He needs to go to a Muslim country and stay a Muslim, even though
Uh,
that he proclaimed himself not to be a Muslim.
if you send him to a Muslim country, he'll be back in a week kissing the dirt of the United States of America.
In a week, or he'll be dead by the Muslims.
If he come back, if he comes back in a week,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would rather send him to Iran or Pakistan, and I would like him to stand in the middle of the street and proclaim his faith if it is not Islam openly, and I will see if
they
his
will hug
bones
him
are
with
still
swords and knives.
if his bones are still intact.
And I will never advise him to take his wife or his daughter with him.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because his wife and daughter has nothing to do with it. So I would like to respect his wife and daughter if he has any. And then he should go alone and then to Pakistan, stand in the middle of this road and proclaim whatever faith he
But
believes
you
in,
know
whether
what?
he's an
How about that?
atheist or
Adam,
secular or
Adam,
whatever.
if he go to Afghanistan and all what he needs to say is that I'm an American,
Mashallah,
yeah,
mashallah,
that'll be the
mashallah.
end of the story. Then he will never come back. Then we lose him for good. Okay, go ahead. This, you know what's so amazing?
And these are the kind of people, these are the kind of people who are defending these idiots. Like,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
What
Hey,
is that?
what is
A cat.
what
We
is
got the
that,
cat.
TDS? What
Here is
is
the deal.
that?
Here is the deal. Most American people in the liberal media,
Kitty cat.
not only they are ignorant of Islam, what a beautiful cat. That's a beautiful one. Not only is they ignorant of Islam, they're ignorant of life. Life. They know nothing about anything. They're super naive, super stupid. They are digging graves right now by what they're doing to our brother Thaddeus. They're actually digging graves for themselves and for children by their own hands. If that what they're doing continue to happen in America, the day is coming. He have to submit to Islam, or he will be killed and buried in his stupid grave he's been digging for whatever years.
Absolutely. But anyhow, these are my opinion and Osama's opinion because we both come from a Muslim majority countries. We know what is happening there.
But wait a
Thieves
minute,
do not
we
know
still
about
have
that.
Adam. We still have 10% Christians in Egypt. I mean, what's wrong to have 10% Americans and we get rid of the other 90? You still not be persecuted or anything.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. And we have like 2.5% Christians in Pakistan still. In 1947, they were approximately 20%. Now they are 2.5%. So yeah, they are not persecuted. And nothing. No, nobody's persecuted.
Go back to that idiot. I don't care if this is true. Islam teach to kill the Jews and the Christians. If there's not one Muslim practice Islam, we still have a problem with the ideology of Islam. If there's no persecution in any of the 57 Muslim countries in the world, it's just because the Muslims who live in these countries are living in disobedience to the commands of Allah and the command of Muhammad. They are hypocrites and they will burn in hell forever. That's what Islam teach. Even if there is no persecution, but we know there is persecution without any doubt. But
Do you want me to say yes, sir? Because like I know I don't have to say anything. It's
what I'm
it's so
saying is
true.
that idiot does not know jack about Islam either. Not only he's lying about the persecution of the Christians in Egypt and everywhere else in the world, he is ignorant of Islam. That's what I'm trying to say.
Perfect. All right, so let's finish the article.
Continue. Yes. However, Salad called Billman's actions, quote, examples of bigotry towards Muslims. Well, the only two
Oh,
actions of mine highlighted in this article are talking to Robert Spencer, so apparently that's bigotry against Muslims, and allegedly calling Muslims crackhead clown individuals. Now, if I said every Muslim is a crackhead clown, I guess that could maybe be an
but
example of
but
bigotry
say
towards
those.
Muslims, but of course I didn't actually say that, and Salat has no idea what I said, why I said it, or anything.
But see those, if you know the heart of Robert and you read every article and everything they put in their ministry, he had zero bigotry against Muslims. Robert Spencer have no problem. If you want to compare me to Robert, you can call me a bigot, but you cannot call Robert a bigot. He's so smart. He used his word carefully, so he will not show bigotry. You heard me tonight. I said enough stuff. Anybody can judge me today that I have a bigotry against Muslim. But thank God for the Muslim who led to Christ, who would testify that we love Muslim people. We don't hate Muslim people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Robert is
to me,
so
it's
smart.
so bizarre, right? It's so
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's so
Robert is so
bizarre to me
smart.
that
He
Robert
does
is
not
like
show
the
any
worst of the
bigotry. He does
worst.
not have it. But I do sometimes get passionate with my Egyptian blood in me, and I look like a bigot. But in reality, I'm not. Anyway,
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like Robert's the most calm, straightforward telling of sources, reading what is in the Muslim texts guy there is. Like
yeah.
compare him to you or David Wood or Sam
We
Shamoon or
are
even
very
me,
big. Yeah,
and he looks like a mouse.
absolutely. He's a kind. He's
So I don't
wise.
get
He's
it why
Hey,
Robert's
wise.
the
you
big
called
bad guy
Robert a
here.
mouse? You should be
Yeah.
jailed. You called Robert a mouse? You should be
Now we're gonna
jailed.
sue you for that.
No, we will throw you in jail, man.
But Adam, it's true. Robert is a kind man. Robert is an educated man. We Middle Eastern, you and I speak with passion like dumb. Sometimes we say stuff, even in my own life. Forget about the ministry. I've been married to my wife now for 35 years. I have said so much stuff I don't think Robert will ever say to his wife. Our passion take over. Robert is not a person who speak foolishly like sometimes I do. Anyway, move on. Move on, brother.
So Salat also apparently said, calling Muslims crackhead clowns individuals is deeply offensive and harmful rhetoric that dehumanizes a group of people based on their religion. Again, I didn't do that, but also a clown is a human, so I'm not sure how calling someone a clown dehumanizes them.
Listen this. Based on the religion teaches to cut the stupid man head and rape his wife and daughter. You're really defending that religion? What a stupid person. Based on the religion, like there's nothing wrong with Islam? Are you out of your mind? Okay, let me cut your head off and rape your wife and daughter before I cut your head off so you can enjoy
Hey,
watching me.
Osama, you can't say that, man. Come on, this will be cut short and then played. You understand what you are doing.
All right, what I'm saying is this guy is when people say based on the religion, What is wrong with Islam? Nothing. Yeah, you're stupid.
All right, continue.
All right, carrying on here. In the video, Billman goes on to make fun of people with Alzheimer's disease, which affects more than 55 million people worldwide. A commenter said they now have the degenerative brain disease from watching the videos. Okay, I did not do that. I don't know why the reporter needed to throw this in here, but I did not make fun of people with Alzheimer's disease. I made a comment along the lines of, don't quote me, not word for word, but along the lines of, I think I might have Alzheimer's now. After watching all of those videos from insane individuals. That's not making fun of someone. If I fall down and say, I think I may have broken my leg, that doesn't mean I'm making fun of people with broken legs or people with no legs or anything else. It's a stupid joke about how the Islamic videos have ruined my brain.
Brother, that's a fact.
All
with me.
right.
But no. You say it as a joke. It's a fact with me. My brain is cooked because of the ideology of Islam. I don't think straight anymore.
Osama, you're a Middle Eastern. You never think straight.
I mean, I walk cricket all my life. Well, thanks, Adam. You make me feel so good about myself now.
By the way, once again, this was a joke. I'm not mocking all the Middle Eastern.
Now you're kicking.
Billman responded, I'm not sure what I'm responding to. They probably should have just said Billman said, if you actually have brain damage, it will be much easier for you to convert to Islam and remain a Muslim because you will not have the ability to think. I did say that. I'm sure I said that,
brother,
but it's true. I mean,
that fit. I did not even read that in your article. I never read anything. That fit exactly with the teaching of this famous Egyptian imam about leaving the donkey outside the house when you go to meet the mayor, or leave your brain outside the mosque when you sit and listen to his sermon. This is exactly. If you have brain, you cannot be Muslim. You have to be A, ignorant of Islam to be Muslim, or B, you know everything about Islam without brain. But you cannot mix brain and Islam, put them together in a person who have logic or common sense. Nothing about Islam we have logic or any common sense. Anyway, go ahead.
he went on in the video to say we are more Muslim than the Muslims because we actually submit to God. Gee, I wonder what I was mocking when I said that.
That's a mock? That's a mockery?
Muslims who constantly say they're more Christian than Christians, perhaps?
Yeah, because they believe in Isa, son of Mary, the one who spoke like a baby born under some palm tree and whatever else, come up with the propaganda of Muhammad in the Quran about Isa. They believe in the Jesus of Muhammad, and they think that they are more Christians than we can ever. They love Isa more than we love Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously a person who doesn't do this kind of work wouldn't understand why I said that. But I said it for that specific reason, that Muslims are constantly telling me that they're more Christian than I am because they follow the real Jesus.
I think you have said that on the lines of because of that as well, when they say every single prophet was a Muslim and so on and so forth, because they submit to God. So if you submit to God, you are a Muslim. So by this definition, everyone who has a God, who believe in God and submit to God, they are a Muslim. So according to Islam, even Hindus are Muslim because they submit to God. Buddhists are Muslim because they submit to God. So by that ideology, this is like calling everybody Muslims. There's no problem in that.
As a matter of fact, I have been to an interfaith meeting where the Muslims were in agreement here in America. That's obviously we call BS interfaith meeting. The Muslims in the meeting said the Jews are good, the Buddhists are good, the whatever other beliefs were there were good. And I was sitting there shaking my head. What kind of Muslim are you? But that's exactly what they teach the Americans.
So this is their statement of their mouth only. When
Right,
you read the Quran, things go changes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and when Muslims are trying to do dawah, they will openly tell people you're basically already a Muslim because you say you submit to God, and that's all Muslim means. So
Yeah.
Muslim says it as a way to try to manipulate you into converting to Islam. Perfectly good. I say it. That's something bad, obviously. Islamophobia, a powerful ideology. Billman is creating and posting these videos at a time when diversity, equity, and inclusion are being attacked and the cases of discrimination against Muslims are skyrocketing, Salad said. In 2024, the Center for American Islamic Relations got more than six.
Brother. Before you jump at this, and when you read some facts like this, you need to think about it. Discrimination against Muslims are skyrocket here in America, or maybe in Syria, when Muslims are killing Muslims. I mean, when in America we see any discrimination against any Muslim? Can you give me a case of some Muslim got fired because he or she are Muslims? It is you who got fired because you're a Christian, brother. I mean, these people, when they write that garbage in their articles, where can you give me a case where in America some Muslim got discriminated even after September 11? For heaven's sake, the number of mosques in America quadrupled after September 11. The number of Muslims who come to America quadrupled after September 11. Even though they just smoked 3,000 Americans and they killed them in one afternoon, in one morning, 9 o'clock at Tuesday. I mean, if you think about it, there's discrimination against Muslim in America. Let me put it this way, Adam, if 19 Christians in Egypt killed 3,000 Muslims in Egypt, can you tell me what discrimination the Christian in the Middle East will see a few hours after that attack?
There'll be villages and towns will be burned down. The churches will be destroyed. They will be dragged on the streets.
Thank you.
Like
No, that's enough. That's enough. 3,000 Americans were slaughtered in few minutes on September 11, and so far, not one Muslim in America was killed. Where one Muslim in America lost his job, or one Muslim in America were hated? Where is the stupidity of discrimination against Muslims in the West? They are literally raping the women in Europe and doing everything anyone can do to be killed for, and nothing is happening to them. So there's I know there is discrimination to Muslims in the world. For example, if I go to Syria, where the Sunni are killing the Alawi, they're killing, they're treating them like animals. I can go to Somalia and I show you discrimination. Muslims killing Muslims. I can go to Lebanon, Muslims are killing Muslims. I can go to Iraq, Muslims are killing Muslims. In America, in the West, discrimination? What are you, stupid? Go ahead, brother. Read. You don't want to get me excited here. Read your article, sir.
All right. So in 2024,
if you want, I can mute
got
you.
more than 8,650 complaints. More than 8,650 complaints of anti-Muslim incidents nationwide. So 8,650 Muslims, or probably less, because probably some filed way more than one. Some number of Muslims, let's say 5,000, complained about something to care.
Yeah,
this is the proof that there's massive discrimination.
Yeah, brother Thaddeus, I know one personally. It's Ramadan, and
I was
some
gonna say,
stupid
or
Americans are eating in the street in the month of
Osama,
Ramadan.
hold on. Let him read it. Otherwise, we will not finish the article. Wait, brother, wait.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, a bunch of Muslims, well, not even really a bunch, a few Muslims, because in America of 300, 400 million people, 8,650 is not very many, but some Muslims complained that someone did something, therefore there's massive discrimination against all Muslims, and it's all my fault for having a YouTube channel, I think is the takeaway here.
Yeah.
That is the high historical high for the organization in its 30-year history. Oh, so basically you're admitting that you've been training Muslims to complain more. Got it. Rise is attributed to heightened Islamophobia in the wake of violence in Israel and Palestine, according to CARE. Well, yeah, of course CARE is going to say it's because of Israel. It's all Israel's fault that people are making Muslims complain about stuff. It couldn't possibly be, say, I don't know, Islamic terrorists that are making people skeptical of Islam. No. It's Israel's fault. And then the final paragraph of the article, it's still important that we are not silent when people are espousing any kind of racist ideology, Salat said. I don't recall ever criticizing anyone based on race. The only way this could make sense is if Salat is saying that every Muslim must be an Arab, in which case Salat is being racist by saying that non-Arabs are not allowed to be Muslims. So, what racist ideology is being espoused here? None by me.
No.
I criticize white, male, straight, American, Muslim converts all the time. It has nothing to do with race. We need to say something and speak up and talk about the harm it does to society and why they're problematic. I think we do need to speak up and say something about the harm being done to society by idiots like this guy who are saying we're not allowed to be critical of anything.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. These people are showing their stupidity about everything about Islam, that they can write that last phrase here about race. When you add race to Islam in a sentence, that shows me that you're so stupid. You don't even know what you're talking about. Literally, that's what it is. I mean, what racism have to do with anything about Islam? What you just to mention Islam and racism again in one sentence, you're super stupid. You don't know. You should not write an article, period. You are disqualified to write an article.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So the article is
so
finished.
Real quickly, let's pull up the second.
Oh, there is a second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go to the points
let
where
me just pull up the second one real quick. We don't have to go through the whole thing.
Okay. Go to the main highlighted points, brother.
So this is the second article the Dispatch published. Yes. We don't have to go through the whole thing because it's mostly just repetition of what the first article says. But the key takeaway here is right in the headline. CARE Ohio. Columbus Shutter Board should fire employee who posted anti-Muslim videos. And then, so while local leaders were mostly restrained in their response, or their reaction to Community Shelter Board employee who posted anti-Muslim content on YouTube, a local Muslim advocacy group has condemned the employee's actions and is calling for his firing. Then it just repeats the same nonsense about me. And then here's the statement from CARE. Billman's role in a community nonprofit serving Muslims. Once again, Community Shelter Board is a funding organization. It doesn't serve Muslims. It doesn't serve Christians. It doesn't serve anyone. It provides funding for other organizations that administer homeless services. Should alarm us all. Proof that the hate thrives even in well-intentioned spaces, says Khalid Tarani, executive director of CARE Ohio. And then says a little bit about who CARE is. And then he continues, for such a well-regarded organization in the Columbus area, to have such a person peddling hate in such a way that it's creating a platform for a very well-known racist is simply unacceptable. I guess that well-known racist is supposed to be Robert Spencer. I don't know. And then it repeats my response. And then CARE says, they urge CSB to, quote, make it clear that employees who project bigoted ideologies, especially on social media, cannot be trusted to act with integrity in their work. So because I speak against Islam, I cannot be trusted to correctly analyze numbers. If you speak against Islam, you have brain damage, basically is what he's saying. You can't do anything correctly. There must be something wrong with your brain. Everyone should fire you. You should be thrown in the trash like the garbage you are, I think is what he's getting at here. Because let's just say, oh wait, we don't have to say it happened, that CSB fires me. And then I get a job at McDonald's. Well, oh wait, you can't work at McDonald's. You promote bigoted ideologies. You can't be trusted to work with integrity in making a hamburger. Get out of here. You're not allowed to have employment. You're not allowed to have income because you said something we don't like and hurt our feelings so bad.
Yeah.
But utter nonsense. I would never in a million years say a Muslim who called me names should be fired from his job.
Sure, that's how we're going to end in prisons because we don't fit in society, brother.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that right? They can't have Sharia law. They can't jail me or execute me or anything like that for criticizing Islam. But hey, they can take my income away, and then they can harass a future employer to take that income away, and pretty soon I'm on the streets dying. That's what they want. That's what this guy wants. You cannot be trusted to work at any kind of organization ever in any role if you say anything negative against Islam, according to CARE Ohio.
Yeah.
And and then I think this is his final comment. The line between free speech and hate speech is increasingly blurred. Gee, I wonder which direction it's being blurred in. Often serving as a pretext to justify hate, particularly against Muslims, a sentiment unfortunately normalized in both the public sphere and government today. Where is that normalized? Where is it just acceptable to hate people because of their religion? In America, in the government against Muslims, or in Muslim countries against all non-Muslims? You tell me. You tell me.
Not only against
Let me just double
non-Muslims,
check.
but it's also against other Muslims who does not fit with your agenda.
Yep. I think, yep, that's the extent of his comments. So that's what CARE says, right? CARE says this guy said something about Islam. He cannot be trusted to do his job, which has absolutely nothing to do with religion, because anyone who speaks against Islam obviously is unworthy of being able to eat. I think that's his message.
That is very important. So in America, a non-profit organization is taking verdicts from here. This shows the bigotry of these stupid idiots. And that is why I think Trump is very, very necessary at this moment. If Trump would not have come in as a president of America, we would have been gone down the drain just like Britain, like UK. And as we know already, what is happening in UK, it's not something that is hidden from the world. So, first of all, I would like to thank Elon Musk for buying Twitter. At least there's one place where there's a full freedom of speech. You can say whatever over there, show whatever over there. I can't even show those things that I have it on my Twitter because of the YouTube policies. But one thing for sure, I am very saddened today for what I see over here and what I read in these articles over here. It is utmost disturbing, and I've come from a place where I have been in majority as a Muslim. I know what we have done. I'm sorry, my voice was pretty bad.
You're good now. You're good now.
Now it is good.
Yeah.
I know what we have done in our country as a Muslim. I know how we have persecuted the Christians. I know how we have persecuted all the rest of the people. I know how we show the face. We would go in a group and show to a minority group that we are donating them something, and then we preach Islam and try to find the converts there. I have done every single step that I see happening in the United States. I know how to put a deception into the hearts and the minds of the non-Muslims until they accept Islam. And then to precede that and slowly and gradually tell them everything, but not to begin with. This is the reality. I've lived that life. I have lived that life. Usama has been a minority in a Muslim majority country. Thaddeus never have lived in a Muslim majority country. I have lived in a Muslim majority country as a Muslim who was helping Islam. I come from the other side. Care can deceive every single white person in America. They cannot deceive me. Because every single thing that they have said in the article is something that I would have written in a much better way. This article is written very bad. I would have written it in a much better way. They should hire me for that. But the whole idea is it's all deception, because you have to deceive. Because Allah is the best of the planners? No, it's a deceptive plan. It's a scheme. Allah is the best of a schemer in the deceptive way, and Muslims are asked to do the same. I have shown the video in the past about do not lie, and the not has a dash on top of it. In Islam, there is a theology on how to lie and how to deceive. Imam Jalaluddin and other ulama actually state in their books so many times that if you cannot do a good thing, especially bringing somebody to Islam with truth, then lying is obligatory upon you. When you say obligatory, it means if you don't lie, you are a sinner. Realize what I'm saying. If you don't lie, you are a sinner. It becomes obligatory upon you. Because to do something good, it is far better to lie to do something good than to not lie and not do that particular good. This is the theology, this is written in the Sharia. If you open the Sharia manual, Undatus Salik, translated as Reliance of Traveler, and you go to the chapter of lying, you will see a subsection called permissible lying. And there will be at least 10 pages that you will see about the permissible lying. Imam Ghazali Rahimahullah was quoted in this book, Undatus Salik, and he is explaining in his book how to lie. And when lying becomes obligatory, means if you do not lie, you are a sinner. So I have been there, I have done that, and I would ask the care people to come up and have a debate. Prove me wrong. I stand here openly and I'm willing to do that if they have the guts. But they will never have the guts to debate with a person who lived in a Muslim majority country as a Muslim, given the dawah, went out on 3 days chilla, 4 days chilla, and so on and so forth. To do all of these things, they will never be able to come to me because they can't. They know they'll be exposed. And this article reminds me of what I have been doing in my life as a Muslim.
Yeah.
What I've done in my life as a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the sad reality. But once I realized that I've been following the most absolute devil, I'm here. I'll do it till the end. And Thaddeus, I'm thankful for what you have done and what you are doing.
Amen.
And I'm not a millionaire. I cannot support you in too much, but I will do everything in my power to help you. And that's all what I can say, brother.
I appreciate that very much. And for those who are watching and they want to help, I would encourage you first and foremost to share this material. Make others aware of this. There are a lot of people in America who would find this perfectly acceptable, but there are a lot of other people who would find it outrageous and have no idea that this kind of thing is going on. That someone can be fired for their job simply for speaking against obvious evil. Right, speaking against raping children, speaking against killing people for leaving Islam, speaking against people who call non-Muslims worse than dirt, who call non-Muslims the worst of all creatures, who celebrate the fact that they expect to be victorious and to subjugate and imprison us and make us their slaves. Speaking against those things, I think we can all agree on. Unfortunately, this does happen to be what the Islamic texts teach. But even if it was just some crazy people who misunderstood Islam, we should still be able to speak against it. But we can't. When we speak against it, this is what happens. You get silenced. right? You get shouted down. You're told that you're a bigot, that no one believes this kind of stuff. You're just making up nonsense about Muslims. And then if they find out who you are, right? Maybe you're anonymous and you only get shouted down, only get called names. But if they find out who you are, they target your employer. They tell your employer that if you don't fire this guy, you are going to be in so much trouble. We're going to make you look so bad. Everyone's going to hate you. And of course, the employer capitulates. You're out of a job. You have no income coming in. So if you want to help me, again, I don't like desperately need money. Obviously, I will eventually either need another job or other support. But in the near term, I'm not desperate for money. But I am desperate for people to know about this, to spread the word, because if we don't fight back, right? If we don't stand up against this, if we just cower and die and if I just were to issue a public apology and delete all my content and try to move on, what is the lesson? The lesson is this works. This is how you enforce Sharia law where you can't enforce Sharia law, is not through jailing people, not through arresting people, not through something like that, but through social pressure. Force their lives to be ruined by getting the press to write things, putting pressure on the company, getting the person fired. And if it happened to me, it can happen to anyone. This happened, it's not like I was totally ignorant of this, but since I happened to be fired, I searched specifically news articles on this subject, and I found numerous people who were not public speakers like me, who did not have a YouTube channel of 26,000 subscribers and couldn't fight back in any way, who had just posted their personal opinion on their own personal Twitter account or Facebook page or Instagram account or whatever about something, and their employer fired them because they were bigoted anti-Muslim individuals because they said something along the lines of they were afraid of Muslim immigrants. That's just expressing your opinion. If a Muslim posted on their personal Facebook page that they hate all Christians and can't stand living in America, I would not call for them to be fired from their job. Now, I might say, then leave, right? If you don't like being in America, then leave. But that's beside the point. I wouldn't call for someone to be fired because it doesn't determine your ability to do the job. You should be judged based on the job. If I had been targeting Muslims at work, right? If I had been like harassing Muslims in shelter or something, or if I had been trying to deny Muslims shelter or something like that, then you can fire me for actual discrimination, actual attempt to ruin or to disadvantage someone. Merely saying something, specifically that Islam is wrong, is not discrimination. That is fact. Or if you don't think it's fact, it's at least opinion. It's not discrimination to state your opinion about something.
But brother, isn't that constitutionally you're right in America? What's the constitutionally First Amendment? I have heard this word, First Amendment,
Yeah,
First Amendment, First Amendment.
Yeah, so to be clear, the First Amendment gives you the right to say most things, right? You can't you can't say like go kill that guy, right?
Exactly, that the go kill that guy is an intention to kill somebody, but as an opinion,
yeah,
you can express anything, right?
Yes. So what it doesn't get, so it guarantees you the right to say it, which means the government can't stop you from saying it. You can't be arrested for saying something. You can't be imprisoned. You can't be fined.
So
you
all
can't
the companies
be,
in the America
denied housing, right?
So
Numerous things, but
all the companies in the America has to follow the First Amendment law. Isn't that true?
So no, not exactly. So
Really?
employment law is different. So employment law, you can fire someone for something they said, with exceptions, which are important, which I'll get to in a second. But for example, if someone posts on their social media that they went out drinking and partying over the weekend, and you don't like that, you can legally fire them for that. Now, personally, I think that's very wrong. No one should do that. But you can legally do that. What you can't legally do is fire someone for anything related to protected classes. So gender, you can't fire anything for someone for gender related issues. You can't fire someone for race.
Religious related
Race.
issues.
Yes, I was going to get to. I was going to leave religion for last, but yes, race, religion, age, or gender or disability. Those are the protected classes. So you can't fire someone for any of those things. Well, that's where the problem comes in because this is a religious issue, and they shouldn't have been able to fire me for a religious issue. They could fire me for saying I hate Trump or I love Trump. They could fire me for that because political speech isn't protected in employment law. But they can't fire me for my religious speech. And in my opinion, they definitely did. And we'll see in court what the legality of the matter is. But in my opinion, I was discriminated based on my sincerely held religious beliefs, which is illegal.
Perfect.
And the reason
Very
of
well.
that is very simple because they're so ignorant of Islam. Have they known what is in Islam and the future of what the Muslims are going to be doing in America, in this city where you live? They should reward you for what you're doing. They should give you extra bonus financially to help you for your sacrifice and the hours you spend to teach and educate the American people about that savage cult of Islam. In reality, you should be rewarded for leading Muslims to Christ, because that not only saves the life of the Muslim for eternity, that saves the life of some Americans who maybe will be raped or be killed by that Muslim man whom you're taking out of that savage cult to the knowledge of Christ. I mean, there's so much things messed up. And as Brother Adam said earlier, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Your company and most companies in America and most business in America, 99.9 of the Muslim in America do not know jack about Islam. That's why we are destroying ourselves for our ignorance. That is a problem of Islam. And by the way, not only we're ignorant of Islam, but we're rejecting that knowledge because we always love the first half of the verse and leave the rest. Because you reject knowledge, I will also reject you. So there will be a time in America where some of the American people are going to wake up when the things get real bad because of what Muslims are doing as a result of Islam in America. And that is when we say, okay, let's do what's right. And then you're going to hear the words, it is too late. You reject the knowledge, I will also reject you. And that is the worst which is yet to come to America.
Very well stated. Let me take some super chats over here. Um, what is his name? Sunagvik. Man, this is a difficult name for me. Sunagvik said, Jesus is alive, Muhammad is dead. Absolutely, no doubt about that. And he said, Thaddeus, you are ruining Islam. You must be stopped, with a laughing face at the end. Just so that if I don't know that he was sarcastic, he just put a laughing face as well. Uh, Gabe said, I openly have debates with Muslims at my work. Can't wait to get fired. LOL. uh, Devi, Bulan, Anak, Diva. Oh man, come on, Sister Lynn. Like Lynn was easy. You don't make difficult names over here. Let's scrap the religion of
I'd rather
Doug.
have that name than the moon god, the moon goddess.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. I agree. I agree. And then Jack Ray gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so very much, Jack Ray. Appreciate it. And Shokeen Kafir said, keep up the good work, bro. People need to know the reality of this dirty and dangerous cult. Only the real fact of Islam can save the world. Absolutely. Real fact to show so that they could come to the true realization of our Lord as well. Guys, let me see. There was somebody who was Islam is true and all. He wanted to join in and refute us. So there you go, the link. I promised in the end I will send the link so that this Islam guy could come in. So I'm a man of my promise, even though today is not the day where I would take in guests to talk, but I'm a man of my word. So I just sent the link. In the meantime, everyone, my moderators have sent the link of Thaddeus' channel. His channel name is Reasoned Answers. If you have not subscribed, now is the time to subscribe and go watch and see if he has done anything wrong. And come and tell me where he has done anything wrong. I'm here to take the questions about his streams as well. Like quite frankly, literally, I have been with him from the time maybe 3 years approximately, and I kind of pushed him to do it as a live stream to show the people because I've seen some of his older videos, and I was like, your videos are awesome. They have historical data, they have every kind of data. And I asked him, hey, Thaddeus, you gotta do more live streams. You have to come in and present data, let the Muslims come in and have a talk. So I feel that maybe me saying that got him to this position as well, where he is in at this moment. But like, I kind of pushed him. I saw his monologue kind of videos where he was just presenting the data. He's such a slow speaker that I had to watch his videos at 1.50 speed when he was doing monologues. But his videos were filled with data, historical data, good analysis, and everything. And then I was like, dude, you gotta come in. You gotta come in strong, and you gotta come in hard. And like, I don't know, Thaddeus, I'm sorry. Maybe
No,
I'm
no,
I'm one of
no,
the culprit.
don't apologize. Don't apologize. So, Adam is completely correct. He is a major inspiration for me. At one point, I approached him and asked how to be more effective in ministry to Muslims, and he kind of gave me some insight into the typical Muslim mindset, and that they respect confrontation a lot more than facts, uh, among other things. And so, like a little bit at a time, I moved outside of my comfort zone and began having live discussions with Muslims and debating them and whatnot. And, ratcheted up the level of rhetoric a bit. But I mean, still, in comparison to most, I'm pretty mild. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I tend to be on the more mild side because that's my natural personality. Um, and it's definitely not Adam's fault. It's all Robert Spencer's fault. So there's
Let's
that.
sue. Hey, we can sue Robert Spencer and he can make some money.
Yeah, yeah. So I did a Dave's live stream on Apologetics Roadshow, David Wood's channel, with Robert Spencer a couple days ago. And before we started, I said, "Hey, Robert, I guess I'm supposed to be mad at you because you got me fired." So
No.
It's all his fault. Okay, thank you. I'm glad that it's not just my
mhm.
fault. It's Robert Spencer's fault. So I'll take only the 10% blame. So 90% goes to Robert Spencer. That's good. I'm happy. I'm glad. It
Mhm.
makes sense now. I'm happy. With that being said, I think that guy has run away. He didn't have the courage to listen to what we are saying, and he just wanted to blow up uh, his team and wanted to derail the topic. And I did not want to. Like most of my videos, I do open live streams. I put the link in first in the first 5 minutes, and then I make the stream. But certain streams are not for debate. Today was one of those. But because I promised him, so I sent the link. But obviously, he's not here anymore. But I fulfilled my promise. I said in the end I will send out the link for anybody who wants to refute, but seems like he ran away. With that being said, guys, please share this stream. We are not asking you for money. What we are asking you right now is to share it. Let
Amen.
this data go to everyone. They need to know. Everyone needs to know. I know it's a longer stream, but we are giving the data and the information. So I'll try to put up some short videos about this as well, taken from this long video, because I want shorter information to go out as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. Help me
And yeah,
to
Brother Adam,
spread
if you don't
this.
mind, yeah.
Yeah, help me to spread this information
Amen.
as much as you can, because this is very important. No matter whether you live in America or not, whether you live in Canada or any other non-Muslim country, you know, this is your issue. This will be your issue if it is not your issue. This will become your issue. So before it will become your issue, or before it is your issue, now is the time to let's put an end to it, that it
Mm.
will never become your issue. And
Amen.
if you will not do it now,
It'll be too
tomorrow
late.
it will be too late.
It's not gonna work. And one more thing we did not really ask people to do, not only to share this video and whatever they can do to get it out, but I want people to be praying for the case coming up. I believe in the power of prayer that Our dear brother Theodos will have his job back, will maybe have a better job. He will be justice must be served, and I believe we have the perfect time for this case. Can you imagine with me? Just use imagination. If Kamala and her vice president are running right now, they already made a deal. Her own husband, who is a Jewish guy, made a deal with the Muslims that they will end Islamophobia in America. Trust me, Theodos, if you are right now under Kamala Harris, you will not be talking with us because you'll be locked up in some jail, and so is me and everybody else who's speaking is against Islam, because that was the agenda of the Democratic Party for this last few months and the next 4 years, because they were planning to end Islamophobia in America. And I believe that is the ultimate goal. That is when Muslim care or others will stop complaining. When we get rid of all the people who say anything against Islam so we can easily take over America. We are in the way. We are stopping the Muslims of America, care and others, from taking over America. So the only way for them to take over America is to remove us from the pictures. They hate this country and they love it to take it, but they hate us because we are stopping them from taking this country. And there are not plenty of us. I wish we have few zeros in front of our numbers. But we're a small minority who speaks the truth because we got the knowledge, and we're going to continue to do it. So let's pray for our dear brother to be justice to be served, and that he will not give up. I want to be watching your channels from now on. I want to hear what you're saying, and I will be honored to have you on my show. Right now, we have all our people on our channel watching you, and I want them to share it and pray for you. We will continue to do that, and maybe not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I would like to have you on my channel where you can share whatever the Lord put in your heart. I'm not a very huge channel, but we get a few thousand people who can watch us. Why not? We'll add a little bit blessing to your ministry. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thaddeus, your last comments before we end the stream, sir.
Yeah, so my last comment would be that this is not about hating Muslims. It's about loving Muslims enough to tell them the truth that Islam is evil, and I want everyone to do whatever they can to spread that message. Talk to people in your life. If you happen to know some Muslims, have friendly conversations with them. Don't go and beat them over the head, right? They're not the kind of the people, Muslims that you might know in your own neighborhood or in your own place of work are probably not the kind of people who come into YouTube comments and say really nasty things. All the more reason why you should be talking to them, right? Telling them about this. Tell your political friends, right? Who you discuss politics with. Tell them about the free speech issue. Tell everyone about this, because we need to start a movement. We need to actually address the problem. And the problem isn't Thaddeus was fired. The problem is we're not allowed to say anything against Islam. And of course, the bigger problem even than that is Islam itself. And the only way to really end the problem of Islam is to convert people to the truth of Jesus Christ. And that's something every single person watching the stream is called to do.
Amen.
Not from me, from Jesus himself.
Amen. Absolutely.
Thank you so very much, guys. Have a blessed day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And like I always says, Allahu Asghar wa Yeshua Akbar Azim. God bless you all. See you next time.
Amen.